Come on now, behave, OBS. I can't actually tell. I can't actually tell if it's live. Oh, no, okay. That's working. It's working. It's working. Okay. It would be really nice if the game audio just didn't disappear when I alt tab. Because then, just staring at this. Excuse me. Staring at this piece of art that I made. Just with no sound. Doesn't look great, you know? Alright. Gotta do my normal stream maintenance stuff here. Make sure I can be heard and everything. I love opening the YouTube app and it telling me things. Gotta do my normal stream maintenance stuff. Alright, audio sounds good. Make sure heard. Alright. I need to find a better solution to getting... Well, okay. I don't know if I've really mentioned it on the streams yet, but my 2-monitor setup right now is not at all ideal. So, basically, I have my PC set up against one wall, and the display that I watch television on, or play PlayStation on, all that, it's on another wall. So my monitors are 90 degrees off from each other, and one of them's a 32 inch and one of them's a 20 something inch. So it really wouldn't be practical for me to put both of them on this desk. I guess I could, but then I'd have to change where I sit and everything for watching television and movies. So it would require a little bit of changing things up. And besides, I feel like for as close as I'm sitting to my desk, having my monitor be 32 inches would be a bit absurd. But pardon me. I've been kind of like I'm not sick and I'm not getting sick, but today I've had a little bit of a dry cough. I think it's just I had some tortilla chips earlier, and I feel like my throat is like 90% corn chip. Yeah, I might have a guest joining me for some like commentary and discussion, kind of keep the stream a little bit more lively. I'm hoping he shows up here pretty soon. I did kind of let him know I was doing this last minute, and my decision to do this is I made this decision like 30 minutes ago. But yeah. I will say this, I've been enjoying playing New Vegas on hardcore, but it's really got me wanting to play the Jay Sawyer version of this game. But I've never modded Fallout. So we'll just have to see, right? We'll just have to see on that. And then even if I do that, it would probably be later this year. I don't think I have 2 back-to-back playthroughs in me. Although New Vegas is kind of like comfort food for me. So I started playing this again because I was feeling a bit down in the dumps, and yeah, sure enough, it it made me feel a little bit better to be back in Vegas. Something gambling allegory. But yeah, I guess might as well. Production value. All right. Parts from a pressure cooker. Oh, yeah, this is what we were doing. Okay. We need... Alright, like, let's make this kind of as efficient as we can. Let's find a pressure cooker, and let's go to Janet. I think... Yeah. I doubt I'll be able to buy a pressure cooker here at the Crimson Caravan. I just feel like it'll be... It'll be my luck that it's... that nobody is selling it. You the merchant?
Hey there. You looking to buy or sell?
You looking to buy or sell?
Can do.
Okay, it's probably a misc item, right? Okay.
See ya.
I'm just trying to think. Well, I'm just trying to think of what merchant would probably have it.
Friend?
Actually, I wanted to talk to you about him again.
I was hoping you would. What's going on? Have they agreed to my safety yet?
I've got a boomer uniform for you to wear while you cross to Nellis.
There's one more thing. I have a work contract with the Crimson Caravan, and if I walk away, I lose the wages they owe me. Could you do just one more thing for me and talk to Alice McLafferty about it? I know if I do it, she'll just say no. I'd hate to lose the money.
Okay. It's one of these buildings. Yeah.
Welcome to the Crimson Caravan Company New Vegas branch. What may I do for you?
Janet asked me to talk to you about releasing her from her contract.
Ah, yes. Her infatuation with a boomer she's never met. It's a small camp. Word gets around. She's aware she's breaking her contract, which is undoubtedly why she sent you to talk to me instead of coming herself. Janet is free to leave, but she forfeits the wages she's owed. That's the price of contract breaking. Take it or leave it.
This is gonna be I was gonna say this. There's gonna be a barter check. I honestly though, she'll be okay without the money, right?
I'm glad to hear it.
Actually, let's talk to her about some work.
I'm afraid we have no current openings for caravanners or guards, but I am in need of a runner.
See, okay, she said caravanners, but very obviously it said caravaneers, which I feel like is the actual word. What do I need to do?
Deliver this invoice to Dr. Hildern. You can find him somewhere inside Camp McCarran.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure.
You can depend on me. Alright, so that's at Camp McCarran. And McCarran could be a place I could find a pressure cooker.
Hey, have you spoken with McLafferty yet?
Yeah, sorry.
I see. Well, thank you for trying. I'm off to go see my admirer now.
Alright. That's one little errand done. You know, I could check that one neighborhood outside of Vegas. Is it West Side or whatever it's called? South Side? East Side? North Side? Actually, I could. Okay, I'm gonna check Mick and Ralph's.
What are you up to? Later.
Man, I thought those tin cans...
Alright, give me the stuff.
Hey, you're the one who's been going around helping people around here, right? The king says to keep up the good work, and said to give you this.
15 entire bottle caps. You know, when you consider that bottle caps are being used as currency, and, you know, one of the things about real currency is that it should be... When I say rare, what I mean is there should be a finite amount of it, right? And the idea is, and I believe we get a quest in this game that has to do with counterfeiting bottle caps. Ooh! It's that time again. Look, free money. Alright. One of the things about... Like, there should be a scarcity of the bottle caps, right? Which is why we have that one quest that deals with... That's why we have that one quest that deals with the counterfeited caps. And if we were to, you know, flood the market with caps, there would be inflation. You know, that's you know, kind of one of the problems with fiat currency in general. And I don't know what caps are supposed to be backed by in this game, because in the first game...
Hey, you're the one who's been going around helping people around here, right? The king says to keep up the good work, and said to give you this.
Thank you. It's like the king was over in his, like, HQ, and somebody was like, King, that courier that's been helping out, he just killed 2 more, or she just killed 2 more Freeside thugs. And he was like, whoa, mama, give that girl a steak, buy her a steak dinner. But anyway, in the first game, the bottle caps were backed by water, and it's because water is a finite resource, and you know, that's not a great... I mean, water is not a great thing to back your currency with, like compared to gold or silver or platinum or whatever.
Man, Jacob's absinthe is phenomenal stuff. I don't think I've slept this well in ages. If you haven't tried it yet, he's been supplying the Wrangler with the stuff. So, what can I get you?
Man, that boy's happy about some
Take a gander.
some absinthe. But anyway, think about the implication of how many caps you can make, like how many you can earn in this game. It kind of makes you wonder, like, what's the scale? Like, how many?
Always 1 to 10.
Always 1 to 10. There you are. Hello, Sam. I'm discussing with myself currently the market economy of caps in Fallout New Vegas, because I got, you know how if you've got good reputation with Freeside, that the King's gang members will come
Just
give
show
you
up and give you
gifts.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, gave me like 15 whole caps, and it got me thinking about how it's pretty common for you to be able to get just like thousands of caps.
Right.
And if that's the reality, if thousands of caps are the reality, then like one person can have that much in money, and bottle caps are supposed to be like.
Hey, you're the one who's been going around helping.
Sorry,
people around
this
here,
is the
right?
third
The king
time
says to keep up the good work.
a King's Gang member has given me something since I've been in Freeside. But caps are supposed to be finite. There's not supposed to be any new bottle caps, which is why like there's a quest in New Vegas to shut down a counterfeiting operation. Because if you could print more bottle caps, then it would devalue the bottle caps that already exist. And of course, we don't know what bottle caps are backed by in this game because they're backed by water in the first game, but we don't know what they're backed by here in Vegas. But anyway, if one person could have that much, of a finite currency, like how much realistically, how much of that currency exists in the game or in the like, how much of that exists in the New California Republic?
I heard all over.
But, that's a world-building question. Kind of beyond the scale of things. But right now, I'm looking for a pressure cooker.
Pressure cookers.
Yes.
You making some
Making some fried chicken. What do you think?
some bacon pancakes, one might even say.
Making bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes. Making bacon pancakes.
Get some bacon and you put them in the pancakes. Bacon pancakes.
I was watching something where it's one of those things where, somebody watches a cartoon when they're younger, and then when they're older and they've seen more, animation and stuff like that, and they realize that there's like 30 voice actors total.
Right.
And they're like, I can't believe these two characters have the same voice actor. And I'm fairly certain that... Is that character's name Jake?
Yeah.
The dog from Adventure Time? It's like Jake and Finn. Yeah.
Yeah, Jake the dog and Finn the human.
I have seen...
It's Adventure Time.
I've seen 0 episodes of Adventure Time.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
It's one of those things where I think Adventure Time just came right after my time, so to speak, as in like, I was watching Courage the Cowardly Dog and Johnny Bravo and Samurai Jack and Powerpuff Girls and that kind of stuff on Cartoon Network.
Courage is a real one.
Yeah, he do be. All right, let's see if this pawn shop has pressure cooker.
It's like anytime
Here to do
that
business?
someone wants to try to talk
course.
down on my boy Courage, they can catch these hands. Because Courage will always have a shooter as long as I'm out here. I will always go to the mats from my boy.
Ah, pressure cooker. Okay.
Pleasure doing business. Until next.
All right, let's see. I need to go... I'm gonna go deliver this invoice to Camp McCarran, and then I'm gonna go back over to get the rebreather made. And then I will...
I hardly know her.
Rebreather? I barely breathe her to begin with. Dude, one of these days we need to... Like, I have the time. I should, like, make, like, a soundboard type thing of some of our stupidest memes like that.
Yes.
And just have, like, a audio clip that plays until I stop it.
Yeah. That's up, like, to me, that's up there with just, like, name, is it 3 things that aren't Jackie Chan, or 10 things that aren't Jackie Chan?
I don't know.
It's like, I want to say it's, a part of me
I want to
thinks
say it's 10. Yeah.
But then it, like, almost undercuts it of, like, they couldn't even make it to 3, if that's the joke. But now,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I was going through my phone. I'm going through my phone and I'm trying to sort like into folders images that I have so that they're easier for me to find, because I've got like a decade worth of images on my phone. And periodically over the years, I've gone back through and deleted things I no longer need, like screenshots that I took a screenshot to remember a piece of information, and then I no longer need to remember it, and I just take care of that. But I'm going to go through and sort all of my, like, reaction images and GIFs and things like that, and then sort all of my, like, niche memes, because, like, way back in my camera roll, I have that green text that is a picture of Pat, Wooly, and Liam sitting on a couch. And it says Fred Durst.
Yeah.
Fred Durst. Fred Durst, Stevie Wonder, and a paraplegic debate. It's debate the something of funk.
Funk.
Yeah, debate the merits of funk or something like that.
Because that's just a classic.
Yeah.
It does not get better than that.
It's also interesting because I assume that came from on 4chan, or like one of the gaming boards on 4chan, and just kind of the idea that at some point, like, that's not mainstream, but that's like, if they're talking about your gaming stuff over there, that's kind of a thing. Just the same as, like, if you went to any subreddit for, like, any particular game, and they were talking about some YouTuber's coverage of that, like, that's cool for that YouTuber.
Yeah.
But
unless he didn't want people talking about his
yes,
coverage of it, like, just like, do not perceive me.
Or if it's like, well, I mean, heck, even if, like, I made a video and then I found out that there were discussions about it on 4chan, and people were like, some people liked it, some people didn't, but there was actual, like, discussion about it, I'd be like, yeah, that's cool. Same thing for Reddit. Uh-oh, that makes me paranoid.
That would depend on, like, which part of Reddit it was on.
Yeah.
Like, if it's on the cool part of Reddit, which, like, editors note, there's not a cool part of Reddit.
Not anymore. There's been too much, like, polarizing political stuff that's happened in the past. I need you to understand, we've been dealing with the stuff that you and I've been talking about, like, politically, and, like, the kind of discourse online. It's been going on for a decade, dude. Like, the discourse of stuff that we've talked about with the media that we like can really go back to, like, 2015, and I'm sure we can list things that happened before 2015, but it's, people want to specifically say that the 2016 election was that's when it all just fell apart, people lost their minds, but people,
Gamergate.
Yeah, well, what year was Gamergate? Was that 2015 or 14 or something?
It was a few
was it
years
before?
leading up to that. It was a little bit before. Because, I mean, just who would have thought that a bunch of review people on IGN not thinking to themselves, I probably shouldn't review a game of someone that I have a intimate relationship with as a matter of journalistic integrity. Even if I'm not going to review it well,
Yeah. Well, it's like, it makes you wonder how many, like, games journalists or people working in games journalism, how many of them do you think actually went to, like, a university and got a degree in journalism and learned something, or like went through classes that were like that talked about ethics, as far as like ethics in the profession?
A pleasure to meet you.
Or
I'm
how
Dr.
many of
Thomas
them
Mulder, Director of Operations
were
for
English
SIP.
majors,
I
or,
presume you're here about
you know,
22?
I don't even know if, I feel like communications majors would learn about, like, ethical reporting and things like that. Like, even if they didn't...
Yeah, like ethics and broadcasting.
Yeah.
From Alice. I'll see that she's paid right away. Crimson Caravan runs a tight operation. Even out here in the waste, wouldn't do to keep them waiting. Was there anything else?
So I looked it up and
Or
it
were
like
you just
started
here
in
about the
2014.
invoice?
Okay.
And of course, like when I just moved
Wonderful.
like Gamergate
Vault.
summary,
Imagine
the,
if Orchard.
the first result was like Wikipedia like Gamergate harassment campaign.
The bounty.
And the AI summary was like, it was a harassment campaign. I'm like, was it? Did it start as that? Because like, a lot of people did get harassed. Like,
Yeah.
that's just like obviously like that is an observable reality.
I believe that the inhabitants
Including Zoe
plans
Quinn.
to spill.
It's like, hey,
Find the
that's
reason for
not
this.
cool. But also
Good.
like
Vaults typically download all the information.
system
Best of luck.
again. Like most people,
Did Dr. Hildern...
like
This
I
really is...
almost bet money that
I shouldn't say
if
anything. There were a
those
lot of...
right those
Then about a week ago...
right like those
and
journalists
he did...
because there's some of them that it's like it was falsely
But now...
claimed. It's like okay,
Listen, but I'm willing to...
if it's like hey like that's not true.
Right.
I don't know Zoe, or even if it was like hey I do know Zoe personally, but like we're not very close.
Mm-hmm.
Like most like sensible people probably would be like, oh okay sure, thanks for being honest about it.
Yeah. Well, and you think about, because this happens in like every single like hobby or like niche interest or whatever on YouTube, where it like I feel like every single, no matter what like the channels are about, there has been some controversy or some moment of people not disclosing relationships when
Right.
it's either required by law or it's like, honestly, when I see a game review that says something like, oh, you know, we're reviewing whatever the game is, and the developers of that game sent it to us, like sent us a copy for review. Now, I think the only like big thing that you can kind of like allege about that is that person reviewing, or that organization reviewing that game, is not going to, if the game is bad, they're not going to just completely just be brutally just horribly honest because they want to get games in the future to review. They want to continue on. And I mean, and it's the same thing of like, if you get, like, if you had a relationship like this is something that I heard about with a YouTuber that did an interview with a game dev, and it was a really good interview, and then it led to a relationship where the interviewer was collaborating with that developer on one of that developer's projects, and then that fell through, and after it fell through, the interviewer wrote an article about it and really kind of, you know, said like, this is how it was, this is the truth about it all. And for one, you applaud the honesty of it, but it's, you know, the fact that that guy still gets like interviews with people is pretty crazy. But I don't know, I think it's one of those things where, okay, like, you know, like, what is his, is his last name Schreier? Jason Schreier?
Jason Schreier.
Yeah, I don't know who he currently writes for. I want to say he writes for like, does he write for like Forbes or something big like that? But he's a games journalist, and he's done coverage of he's done a lot of coverage of Bethesda leaks.
Right.
And some of that actually came down to him having a source within Bethesda, or multiple sources. And he wrote some stuff based on the information. Like I want to say he accurately called a bunch of stuff about Fallout 4, but I know he called a bunch of stuff about Fallout 76, like the existence of Fallout 76. It was like, yeah, there is going to be a new Fallout game coming soon. It's going to be called Fallout 76. It's going to be, set in, like, Appalachia. Like, it was a bunch of insider details. And he's basically blacklisted by Bethesda and ZeniMax. Like, he's not going to get any kind of official interviews or anything like that with that company. And I don't know that he really is tore up about it. But, it's... There should be kind of an expectation of that's going to happen to you. Like, you're going to... you're gonna burn some bridges occasionally, or you're going to get burned. And I think if you're a reviewer, like that's what you do on your channel, or you're like if you worked for like Kotaku or something like that, if you review a game and you're honest about it, like that should be respected more than, oh, well, he gave them a bad review, so we're not going to send our game to him. Like, I think you should want to send your game to somebody who didn't care about keeping a relationship going with a company and getting free games. Like, you should respect their integrity, and something like that should mean they get more work, not less.
Well, you've proven yourself reliable so far. Would you... As much as I...
Okay.
There is a negotiation with a smaller trading outfit that There's also the matter of Henry Jameson. And finally, I need someone to acquire...
Tell me about the negotiation.
There's a small trading outfit, Cassidy Caravans, that I'm interested in acquiring. They've been rather competitive, so it's time to buy them out. I have it on good authority that the owner, Cass, wants out of the caravan business. Cass frequently trades with the NCR, so you'll likely find her at the Mojave outpost. Thank you. Was there something else?
Okay.
It's been a pleasure.
All right, so I got a little bit more work from the Crimson Caravan. But yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just interesting to me that a reviewer would be more concerned. Like, you could just, like, okay, if I was doing game reviews on this channel, and, like, let's say I got, like, a review copy of The Witcher 4, and I didn't like The Witcher 4 for whatever reason, and or Witcher 4 was, like, objectively, like, had some problems, and I talked about that in my review. And then CD Projekt was like, okay, well, we're never going to send you another review copy of one of our games. We don't care about what you think. I'd be like, okay. I hate that, because I like the games they've made, and I'm a big fan of GOG and everything, so that would suck, but it's more important to me to tell the truth than to maintain a relationship with them. Like, I'm not trying to get a job working for them, right?
Right, but at the same time, though, some people, it's just the grind to keep access. That's important.
Yeah. Well, that's
being able to get a review out a few days early. That's the
yes.
difference between high viewership or low viewership.
Yeah, well, and that's like, you know, Jason Schreier being able to like get that information and be the first one to put that information out. That's huge because that, well, for one, that makes him valuable as a writer. Like, you want him to work for you. Like, you want to be the one publishing his coverage because, like having exclusivity of something that big is going to make you money. Like, with clicks and views and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, there is this rush to be the first. And, I don't know, at the same time, though, it's kind of annoying no matter what, like, industry we're talking about, where there's some kind of product reviews or things like that, that, you know, you have these big releases, like, of a game, but there's a, hang on, I gotta set my quest marker. There is a, there's a review embargo, and the day that embargo lifts, just everybody, like 6 different channels, all have the same coverage. And that's fine for stuff that's like... I did not think about this until I was watching one of Patrician's research streams, that a lot of the videos, like if you know, like right now he's doing his research for a Fallout 3 and New Vegas comparison, right? A lot of the videos that you're going to find from 2000... Actually, is it 2000? Yeah, it's 2008 that 3 came out, and 2010 for this game. A lot of the videos and articles you're going to find from the year the game came out are in the category of, like, should you buy this game? Like, they aren't in-depth...
product reviews.
Yes.
Analyses from an artistic standpoint.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff is going to be very much a...
Thank you for getting Janet to Nellis. I've never been so happy in my entire life.
It's going to be a... Alright, how much time do we realistically have to put into this product to see it, so to speak, and know that we can comfortably put out a review that's going to be true enough, right? So you could have a day 1 review from somebody who only put 30 hours into a 90-hour game, and that review is fine.
That's part of why I'm fond of, like...
Have you found a pressure cooker
especially
so I
for,
can
like,
finish the
when a game
rebreather?
first comes out, like, first impressions
Thanks.
sort of reviews. Things like
Okay.
Yeah.
that, of, like,
It looks like the valve from
even
the
if
cooker
it's,
was
like,
a perfect
15 minutes
fit.
of, like... I forget the channel's name,
Bye.
but, like, it's a channel, like, it's one of the bigger channels that has a couple of different people that work on it. And all the thumbnails, it's the same format of a guy in a suit, like, holding his hands up like he's telling you, hey, stop and wait.
Oh,
With, you know, and
There's-
it's like, before you buy.
I want to say there's, like, 2 different channels just like that, but there's one of them is basically, like, should you buy it? And I think the other one is, like, what do you need to know before you buy it? But yeah, the thumbnail, I know exactly what you're talking about. The thumbnail of, like, the suit, like, holding the hand up, like, wait, you know, like, what's next, you know, yeah.
And it's like, okay, like, what is, yeah. And some of those, like, you know, take or leave those individual videos, but I like the concept.
Yes. And, well, I was going to bring up Mortismal Gaming.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if you were familiar. He does, like, he'll say, like, okay, this game is coming out, and I'm excited for it, and I'm going to review it. And then it comes out, and he'll do a, like, first impressions. Like, I've been playing the game for a little while. This is what I think of it. I'm having a good time. I'm kind of concerned about this. Like, whatever. That's what he does. And then he puts out like, he doesn't do this for every review, but he does do this enough for me to comment on it. as far as doing a first impression and then his full review. But he does, like, a review after he has 100%ed the game.
Yes.
And I put a lot of stock in his reviews for that reason. Now, I think he kind of got it wrong with Veilguard. Like, okay, it goes back to what you and I have talked about before of there is, like, you can like something that's, like, not actually very good, and that's okay. So, Veilguard can have a bunch of problems with its writing and characters and things like that, but still be a game you enjoy playing. And that's a weird thing about doing a review of it is you're coming at it from a standpoint of, I like this, and you liking it clouds not necessarily clouds your judgment, but it's not even like a bias so much as it's just like you can't see it completely objectively. Like, unless you decide, like, okay, I have to set aside my feelings about this. Like, if I was to ever do any kind of analysis of New Vegas, I would really, really have to set aside a lot of, like, what I feel about this game, because this is one of my favorite games of all time. Like, if you ask me to do a top, like, 10 list, it's on the top 10 list. If you ask me to reduce that to 5, it's in the top 5. Like, I love this game. I adore it. And, you know, I'm honest enough about its faults. But if I was to sit down and actually, like, try to do this game justice, or do justice to a analysis of this game, I would have to work hard to set aside my own feelings about it. And I think that's why engaging in content like that is actually really, like, healthy for you and your, like, you being a fan of something. Because, like, you know, I'm a big fan of Skyrim. I love that game. Yeah. It's also in that top 5. And I'm not going to pretend like it's an amazing RPG, because I think I kind of agree that the RPG elements of it are weaker than other entries in the Elder Scrolls series, and that it's just kind of, like, emblematic of a lot of the problems of, like, development at Bethesda. But yeah, and you know, that's sure. But watching Patrician's review of it and watching some other more critical reviews of it, you know, really makes you sit down and think, like, okay, you know what? I've never considered that. Like, I never considered how bad the magic. Oh, that's a Deathclaw. Oh, that's a Deathclaw. I never considered how bad the magic is, bad so to speak, in Skyrim, because I didn't have the, like, point of comparison and everything with how it was in Oblivion, and how Oblivion... Oh my gosh, there's so many Deathclaws down here. I think I'm going to double back and go towards Camp Golf and go to the lake that way. I am just so scared of just the absolute trouncing I will receive. Anyway, but yeah, I didn't have that point of comparison of, like, when you sit down and really examine. Oh! Yep. Basic Deathclaw experience.
Average Deathclaw.
Oh, no, not like this. Okay, hang on. It was just the music. It's just the music. It's just the music. You're okay. It's okay. Oh, no, I think I'm screwed. I think my quick save is... I'm screwed. Oh, no. And it's one of those things where there's nothing... There's realistically nothing I can do about this. If this Deathclaw is aggroed to me... I'm just gonna back up in saves. That Deathclaw being aggroed to me, like, right on top of that quick save is, like... That was a death sentence. Anyway. But yeah, like, the magic system being, like, dumbed down, or not even dumbed down. It's not that it's dumbed down. It's gutted.
Yep.
Comparatively to Oblivion and to Morrowind. But, honestly, though, that's a trend you see if you actually sit down and look at it. That's a trend you see, like, Morrowind was reduced down from Daggerfall, and Oblivion was reduced down from Morrowind, and Skyrim down from Oblivion, and it's because they have this philosophy of, like, we're going to start over every time, and, like, Skyrim's systems are condensed versions, or it's a condensed version of older stuff. Like, instead of having attributes and like how attributes work in the previous games, they just rolled a bunch of the attributes into the health, magicka, stamina system. Again, it's reduced down.
Hurts.
And instead of it,
who cares about mysticism?
yeah, well, and see, that's the thing. I think a lot of players might think, oh, well, I never engaged with any of that stuff. I don't really care that it's changed. Like, Magic's simpler to use now. And, because Skyrim is classless, and because, like, one character can do everything, you end up in a situation where, that character can do everything, but the everything it can do is not as deep as a character that can only do magic, or that can only do sneak stuff, that can only do warrior stuff. Like, that character in Morrowind that only does Fighters Guild and, like, that kind of stuff, that character is a stronger character overall than a character that can do the watered-down versions of that character plus another character plus another character. So...
They're the maximum potential fighter in Morrowind is a force of nature compared to the jack of all trades that's possible in Skyrim.
Right.
And I say that as someone that loves playing jack of all trades characters.
Yeah. Well, that's like okay, if you're playing Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas for the first time, and you want to experience, like, everything, I mean, you pretty much can, but as far as, like, if you want to read every terminal and unlock every container, you've got to max out your science and your lockpick.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're going to roleplay and, like, give yourself the restriction of that's not what you're going to do. Like, you're not going to be a guy that can open every lock. You're not going to be a guy that can hack every computer. Or maybe you decide, like, okay, I will lockpick, but I won't hack, or vice versa. Like, but if you want to experience everything, like, if you wanted to sit down and do a let's play of one of these games and show everything possible, you've got to. Like, or you're going to have to play multiple characters.
Right.
But you have the ability to do it on one character. And that's not really a good or bad thing.
Planning out how to build a perfect character and just at the start, everything else doesn't matter. You just get to level 30, take almost perfect.
Yeah.
Then you go out, collect all the bobbleheads, collect all the skill books.
Yeah.
And then just distribute everything until you have 10 in all stats and 100s in every skill.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is, like, you can just look up, like, Fallout 3 perfect character build, and there's just a guide that you can follow that's like, at this level, take this perk, put this many points into this skill and that skill. And the thing is, like, it's possible but I don't think you're going to have the same kind of experience as if you just like right now my character on New Vegas, she has a high gun skill and high survival skill because I'm like role playing it that way, and she has like a couple skills that I'm just not doing anything with, like melee weapons and unarmed, that, you know, those are as low as they can be because I haven't put points into them. Same thing kind of goes with barter and energy weapons, but, you know, some of my skills are middle of the pack, while other skills are, you know, pretty high for what I'm doing. Like, they're reasonably high. And, you know, that's like how you play the game. You're like, okay, I need to be better at killing things, so I'm going to put points into my killing things skills. I need to be better at you know, talking to people and avoiding things, so I'm going to do it like that. But if you follow a guide, like the one I was talking about, you're not making decisions like that. You're making decisions for an overall, like, optimal build. Which means you're probably going to have a hard time if you're trying to play the game legit. So it's definitely something like I'm not going to want to do that the first time I play the game. Is try to build a perfect character. Well, and then, like, with the way Fallout 4 changed everything.
Well, Fallout 4 changed from being a good game to a bad game.
Okay, give me your honest take. If, like, right now, would you rather play Fallout 3 or Fallout 4? Because for me, I would rather play 3.
Yeah, I'd rather play 3.
And it's mostly because 4, just outright, like, 4 has better gameplay.
Well, sure, yeah, but the thing is, I can laugh at how it sucks to play 4, or 3 at least. That's at least fun.
Well, and
what, this sucks actually, and I'm having a blast.
And I think part of the problem also is, like, the main quest of Fallout 3 is not good, and and it's not as bad. It's not as bad as the main quest in Fallout 4. It's like, how did it get worse?
Oh, because Emil only has like 4 ideas.
I can't wait for Fallout 5 to be about the Dark Brotherhood.
It's not even trying anymore.
No, if I could do an interview with Emil Pagliarulo, first of all, I'd be like, hey, why do you say your name wrong? But I would
be like, hey, Emil, thank you for your willingness.
Just be a jerk and just refuse to ever say his name correct.
Right, I'm sorry. I knew it was pronounced Emil. I've listened to him say his name all the time.
And I think it's all of the sudden I'm down here putting these ballasts on the B-29, and I just get like 5 pop-ups. It's like, Boone is no longer following you. Eddie's no longer following you. You've lost Boone's perk. You've lost Eddie's perk. Boone is returned to Novak. Eddie's returned to... Like, it's just kind of like, calm down. Okay, so I hope there's not a billion Cazadors. Because I think there's Cazadors near this building. Or near where you...
Oh, don't worry. There's not a billion Cazadors. It's a trillion Cazadors.
Yeah, I can see them over there. Okay. I think I have a detonator I have to use. Loyal's detonator. I wonder how hard on this engine. I wonder how hard it was to get that. Where's my shotgun? There it is. I wonder how hard it was to get that B-29 to pop up in that water like that. And was there is there an NPC under it wearing it as a hat? All right, but anyway, yeah. Let me just skirt along through here. I hate being around the lake because the lake also has mirelurks. And even if I wasn't on hardcore difficulty, I'd hate, or not hardcore difficulty, but hardcore mode, I'd hate fighting those things.
Yeah, mirelurks are a pain. That's valid.
It's just they're annoying. Well, I mean, the fact that they have... I think it's also, like, their ranged attack is a really annoying sound and all of that. There's, like, layers to me not liking it. Oh, but what I was saying is if I could ask Emil, like, if I could interview Emil Pagliarulo, I'd be like, okay, I want to know, what do you think of the kind of, like, joking fan theory that people have that the Elder Scrolls is the future of the Fallout universe? You've heard that, right?
Yes, yeah. And if he were to go, oh, I think it's great.
Be like, fire this man right now. Oh!
I would just say, like, Emil, I just need you to look into that corner, and I just need you to focus on that corner. Just focus on that corner, buddy. Don't turn around. No, it's fine. Don't turn around. Just look in that corner. I'm just, like, tearing up the whole time because I'm about to put him down like a holy killer. Like, what are you doing? He's like, don't worry, bud. Just keep staring at that corner.
Just look at the flowers.
Yeah, just look at the flowers, buddy.
Ooh, a BB gun.
Ooh, a piece of candy.
All right, so what I was yelling about was I went into this, like, lakeside shack, and I was like looking, and all of a sudden, like, the combat music started, and I turned around, and there was just a Mirelurk standing at the door. He's like, hey. But because my mom will send me fan theory things about movies and shows that either we've both seen or, like, whatever. Like, she has sent me stuff about Buffy, and she sent me stuff about, like, the Marvel movies. And it's always from some just nothing website. Or it's, like, something from, like, Screen Rant. And it's like, this fan theory about who the main bad guy of this was the whole time, and then you read it, and there's like I think there are good fan theories, and there's awful ones, but the good ones are always based on things from within, like, within that property, like, within that IP. Like, if you were to casually watch that movie or show or play that game or whatever, that you would get the information that fan theory is based on. But whenever that fan theory is like impossible because of that level of information, I hate it.
Okay, but so just pause. So I bought The Lords of the Fallen, like the reboot, on a whim.
Why? Why'd you do that to yourself?
Like, reading reviews are like, yeah, it's not up to the caliber of Dark Souls, but it's a solid, like, dark fantasy RPG-ish game. And so I'm in the character creator right now, and I was like, okay, first of all, the aesthetics are, like, right up my alley. It's like, hey, we know you like European fantasy. We just made it a bit darker and spikier. Like, one of the starting classes is straight up just like, hey, do you want to just cut out the middleman and just, like, be a dude wearing a wolf pelt and using a longsword, and that's just your starting class? I was like,
Yeah.
Yes. Like,
Would you like to import your OC?
basically. But there are advanced game modifiers. Like at the start, you can just turn on modifiers. And just
Oh.
hear this out. So there's Iron Man, which is just, of course, it's Iron Man run. Just if you die, it resets your playthrough, and you start over. But you keep your player progression and inventory. So there's something interesting to be said for that. Pre-upgraded loot, so that weapons, shields, and catalysts you find as loot, or like whether you pick them off of dead bodies or in the world, will come pre-upgraded based on your character level. Randomized loot, randomized enemies, increase enemy density, make your healing rally healing like from Bloodborne.
Oh.
And it can also, and you can also basically, and you can adjust how many bonfires functionally there are throughout the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the, like, having those features, or having that in as features you can turn on or off, like, that makes that game have a level of replayability that normally people would only be getting with mods.
Right. And like, I'm not gonna mess with any of them for right now, just
Yeah.
'cause, like, I don't want to. But like, I especially liked the just upgraded loot, just like as you go, like it just automatically does, like, because most of those either just change or make the experience more difficult in a way, but that one is just straight up like, no, like, let's throw you a bone if you're gonna do other things.
That's interesting, though. I dig that.
Okay, I've got Jericho Cross from Darkwatch awakening me from my grave, basically.
But the Lords of the Fallen thing reminds me, I don't remember if you were on... I feel like I was talking to Daniel about this, but I don't remember if you were there. I don't know why I can't remember if you weren't there or not. But the idea crossed my mind. Much like how there's only 3 original Fallout games, there's been no other Dark Souls games. Like, the only Dark Souls, or if we want to stretch it like Soulsborne, the only games like that are the actual official ones. Like, there's no Souls-like games that are actually like you sit down and play it and go, oh, this is Dark Souls.
Right.
Like, nobody's replicated it, like, much like nobody's replicated the gameplay and like level of writing and everything as those 3 like original Fallout titles. But it's like there's plenty of games influenced by Dark Souls. And to say that your game is influenced by Dark Souls, and then I play it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see how Dark Souls influenced this. That's fine. But to say, no, like this is a Souls-like, yeah, I feel like the criteria of what you have to actually, like, the criteria you have to meet for it to be Souls-like, none of the Souls-like games are actually doing it. It's like, oh, this is a Souls-like because you can dodge, and when you die, you have to go back and collect your stuff. Like, oh boy. Like, there's more to it than that. Like, that's like such a superficial understanding of Dark Souls.
Right.
And it's like...
And that's not even, like, unique, really, to Dark Souls. Like,
yeah. Well, and it's like, okay, like, would you say that Metro, like the Metro series, is that a Fallout-like? It's post-apocalyptic, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, it's like the writing, the world building, the gameplay, they're different. Like, Metro's its own thing. And that's fine. We don't need to say, like, it's because people will say, like, oh, you like Fallout, right? Yeah. Well, you'd probably like Metro. Like, they don't say it like that. They're like, oh, Metro's like Fallout. And there is a lot hinging on that word, like.
No, like, it's one of those, like, it has similar flavors.
Yeah, well, that's like I would say, like, if it was like I was saying it to you, be like, hey, man, you liked Fallout New Vegas. You'd like the tone of this game. Or you'd like the aesthetics of this game. Like, that's, like, you need to be more specific. Like, how is it? Well, that's like, okay, one of my problems with the Outer Worlds is that it was marketed as
New Vegas 2.
Yeah, as at least a spiritual sequel. And the problem was, and you know, see, people might disagree, but
it's going to be a dream come true.
They're like, well, it's nothing like New Vegas, and they weren't saying it was going to be. No, the marketing for that game was like, from the people that brought you Fallout New Vegas. And the problem with it is that statement was not true. Like, Outer Worlds was not made by, like, it wasn't Josh Sawyer and Chris Avallone, and like it wasn't the group of people that really made this game what it is, as far as the writing and the setting. Like, those people were not part of it.
Right.
But Obsidian is who put out the game, Fallout New Vegas. So Outer Worlds is from the people who brought you Fallout New Vegas. Like, and you see it. Have you seen any of the marketing?
That's tremendous.
For Outer Worlds 2?
Instructions to the robots to start packing up the plane to bring it back to Nellis.
A little bit, like, not overly much of it, but
Hey, I bet it...
So, the most recent trailer that I saw, which I think was from, like, the Game Awards, it was, like, from the people that brought you Knights of the Old Republic 2, and, I want to say it was, like, was it Neverwinter Nights 2? Or, like, because, the joke is, Obsidian has published a lot of sequels to other people's games.
Yeah.
And
like,
they say...
to be fair, we're Keynote.
Yeah.
Also, we're not finished.
Yeah, and it's like... and one of the things they say is Fallout 3 2. Like, their joking marketing is calling this game Fallout 3 2. Which, you know, that's just ironic, going back to all of the pea-brained people that were like, they didn't like Fallout 3, so they didn't play this because they just thought this was an expansion pack for 3.
No, I remember
what
Game
you have
Informer,
done for
like,
us is a miracle,
reviewing.
child.
They didn't like just completely bash it, but they. I remember like not being interested in New Vegas because I remember reading a review that was like, yeah, it's basically just more Fallout 3.
Yeah.
If there is ever a way for us to help you, child,
I watched a review from one of those outlets. There was a I don't know if it was IGN or Game Informer or like who it was, or GameSpot rather. I don't remember who it was, but they, honest to goodness, they were like, when they talked about Fallout New Vegas, all they were doing was talking about 3. Like, they were talking about it the way you would talk about the DLC for a game. And it wasn't like critical, but it was just kind of like dismissive. It's just like, and that, I kind of think that goes to show you that
of course, my child,
the discourse at the time
Bye.
that this game came out, the discourse wasn't, oh, this game is better than Fallout 3 and Fallout 3 is bad. Because, you know, the modern discourse about New Vegas versus 3 is New Vegas is a better game, New Vegas is a better Fallout game, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's turned into, well, you're only saying that because, like, that's the thing now. Like, people believe that in retrospect, and people, you know, people liked Fallout 3, and a lot of people didn't like New Vegas, but now it's, like, flipped. And it's like, it's I don't even know what to call it. Like, it's not a recency bias, but we could honestly probably start drawing, like, comparisons and conclusions if we, like, the modern discourse started with H-Bomber Guy's videos about New Vegas and Fallout 3. Like, that, like, whether he's right or wrong or whatever in his points that he makes, he started the discussion on that path. Like, there were people when Fallout 3 came out, there were people on No Mutants Allowed that did not like it. And they did not like what, and actually the truth is, there were people on No Mutants Allowed that saw it coming before the game was even out. Because there were some people, like the famous Vince D. Weller. Vince was like, I liked Morrowind, but I didn't like what they did with Oblivion. So I don't really like the idea that these are the people that are going to be doing a Fallout game.
Right.
Like, that was kind of the skepticism people on, like, No Mutants Allowed and the like had towards Bethesda making Fallout 3. They were like, they were coming at it from, this is the people that made Oblivion and made Morrowind. They weren't like there. It wasn't so much of a discourse on they aren't the original people that made the game. But another thing is, like, another thing is, like, truthfully though, Fallout 1 and 2 were made by different people, like different teams. Like, there's people in common, but what I mean is, like, Tim Kaine, he downplays his importance, and he's like, you know, Leonard Boyarsky was important to it, and he was, and there were like 4 or 5 other people that were really important to making Fallout 1 what it was. But when you look at Fallout 2, not that many people of that core group made Fallout 2 what it is. Like, Chris Avallone wasn't one of the people on Fallout 1, but he was on Fallout 2, and he's one of the people that made Fallout 2 what it is. Right. So Fallout New Vegas is more of a sequel to Fallout 2, which, you know, obviously, like if you know anything about this game, that's, like, super obvious for me to say that. Like, one of your companions in this game is the daughter of a companion from Fallout 2. Another one of the companions is directly linked to stuff that happened in Fallout 2. Like, it's, like, Fallout 2's DNA is all up in here. And, of course, like, Fallout Van Buren's DNA is all up in here. But the thing is, I think a lot of people's problems with Fallout 3's tone, like, those criticisms can be made at
hey, you're the one who's been going around
Fallout 2 as well.
Here, right?
Like, Fallout 2 does not have the same tone as Fallout 1. But Fallout 3 has a similar tone to Fallout 2. But people have attributed Fallout 1 and 2 as having these, like, much more complex, much more deeper, like, systems and approaches to things that Fallout 3 doesn't have. Therefore, Fallout 3 bad, old Fallout good. And realistically, and I want to say Warlocracy brings this up in one of his videos, Fallout 3 does not really belong in a discussion of Fallout 1 and 2. Fallout 3 and 4 and 76 belong in a discussion by themselves, whereas Fallout 1, Fallout 2, and New Vegas belong in another discussion altogether. And that shouldn't be controversial or... Just got a Freeside Thug just... No, don't do it! I was so paranoid that these Securitrons were going to open up with rockets on this Freeside Thug and just wipe me out. Anyway. And it shouldn't be a problem to say. Like, it shouldn't be controversial or divisive to say that Fallout 1, 2, and New Vegas are a discussion of their own, and Fallout 3, 4, and 76 are another discussion. And yes, because they're in the same IP, there is a discussion to be had about the differences, like compare and contrast the Bethesda games to the non-Bethesda games. But, and it's like, when you talk about the Elder Scrolls, it doesn't really seem right to compare it to other RPGs. Like, it doesn't make sense to compare Skyrim to Dragon's Dogma or to Dragon Age. Like, Dragon Age belongs in a discussion of Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights, and like that game, like, Dragon Age is a spiritual successor to those old Infinity Engine games. That is what it is. It is and I think it's a good successor to those games, and I think, this is my controversial take, I much prefer it as a successor to those games than Pillars of Eternity. And it's not that Pillars of Eternity is bad, it's just I hate real-time with pause combat. So, what is this? Oh, it's a letter. Oh, yeah, I forgot about these letters. Okay. Wait. Is he not in this room? Okay. He must be next door. I'm going to walk in here and turn this quest in. And I'm also going to... I have to go use the restroom. But I have a peach cobbler that I just made. And I'm going to go get a bowl of that and kind of like use that as an opportunity to take a break from holding the W key. All right. I'll actually be right back. Actually, I have a thing for this. To signal that my stream... Here we go. Yeah.
Evening.
Well, that's funny.
What's that?
When I came back, like, I had my microphone muted, like, manually, like, at the microphone.
Right.
And so up in the top, like, corner of my monitor, it shows my
It's good to have a
like
friend of the NCR here.
Discord
What can I do
conversation
for
with you, and it showed that I was talking.
I hope you've returned with good news. Are they willing to help the NCR?
So I'm talking to the ambassador of the NCR, right? And he's like, have the boomers agreed to help us? Here's my options. The boomers have agreed to help me. Yes, they will help us. And I'm not sure. I'll get back to you.
I don't know.
That's
I
great.
like that,
They're going
and
to
I
give
get,
us
of
an
course, like
advantage
it
in
would
the
take a
battle
lot
ahead.
of writing and things
In
like
any
that. Like, I
event,
do
I
wish
have
more
another
games
assignment
would
ready
be,
and waiting for you.
like,
But we can speak of it later.
would really lean
Rest
into that,
up.
like the
When you're ready, speak to
Planescape
me
thing
again.
of like, just depending on the emphasis that you put on which part of the sentence you're telling them something different.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, so this is actually, I was talking about Souls-likes.
Hey.
And how there's not really any Fallout-likes. But
there are games that try to capture that vibe.
Yeah, but it's funny. What game has been compared a lot to Planescape Torment?
Hello.
Is Disco Elysium.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like huge points of comparison there. And I have my things I dislike about Disco Elysium, but I think it's a really cool game. Like in gameplay, like in its systems, I mean, it's very unique. I think it's a good game, whether I like the writing and tone, like regardless of any of that. I think it's a good game.
There is some genuinely hilarious stuff in it.
Yeah. Well,
Measurehead is still one of the funniest things on the planet to me.
One of my problems, one of my overall problems with Disco Elysium is that the voice dialogue stuff with...
Oh yeah, you mentioned it felt like it was really slow.
Yeah, like when you're talking to Measurehead, it feels like he is speaking to you at half speed. And a lot of the internal...
Be calm.
Yeah. He's like, we are superior to the Occidental. It's like he is pronouncing every single syllable like it's a word. And, but I think a lot of the internal dialogue stuff, like when you're doing like you're having your Inland Empire moment or whatever.
I'm really enjoying this, but I do have to pause because I just beat my first boss.
Mm-hmm.
Lords of the Fallen is really going for it with just like your boss defeated message is dinner judged. I apologize for the interruption. I had to just let that rock the way that it needed to. So, but yeah, like the different attributes, things like that. Like Volition is one of my favorite characters in a video game.
Yeah.
Just
and like I said,
he's the only one that's not compromised, and he is the only one that is always on your side.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, like that stuff's really unique and interesting, and I like it. It's just I don't like the delivery of the voice lines taking so bloody long. And like I always feel like I don't know. Maybe just my attention span is cooked. Earlier, Tyler sent something in our IG group chat. Or no, maybe he just sent it to me personally. I think he might have just sent it to me personally. And it was... Like, I'm sorry, listen. If you send me an Instagram reel, YouTube short, something. If that thing is longer than 10 seconds, I ain't watching it. That is not the format for a, 2-minute long video.
Yeah, unless I'm confident that it's actually good, I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
and
not
it's
gonna send something along like that unless it passes is it less than 15 seconds.
yeah,
test.
and it's not to rag on Tyler or something, but some of the stuff that he finds entertaining, that he thinks that I'll find entertaining, I'm just and it's funny because he'll send me 13 videos from a channel, and I will watch one of them and be like, I didn't really care for that. Then he'll send another one, and I'll watch it and be like, oh, this is just that's just what that channel does. And then he'll send a third one, and I'm just like, well, I'm not going to watch it because it's just going to be the same thing. And then he'll be like, have I ever sent you anything from that channel? I'm like, yes. You have. Oh, is that guy on the strip? Hang on. That guy's on the strip.
Okay, so another important data point. The Lords of the Fallen has passed the how goofy do you look while you just rapidly tap holding the block button while two-handing. You look like an idiot in the best way.
That's I've been playing Far Cry 2 recently.
Right.
And if you've got your gun out, like I've said, that game...
Hey, you're the one who's been going around helping people around here, right? The king says to keep up the...
That game definitely shows its age in some ways. But I really like it in that it doesn't have a lot of the Ubisoft open world BS that later Far Cry's end up having more and more of.
Right.
But anyway,
feel the need to just really lay into it.
Yeah. So the gameplay of it is fine enough. The shooting is pretty solid and everything. But I bought an upgrade that almost everybody online talking about that game thinks is a waste of money. And it is a camo suit. And it's supposed to make you stealthy. And it does if you move slowly and are crouched, and or maybe you're in a bush. There's all these kind of factors.
You must have some real pull with House to get inside the lucky 30.
There's all these factors that kind of play into how stealth works. But there have been times where I've had enemies walk right up to me and not see me because I wasn't moving. Or I've been able to sneak past groups of enemies. I've been able to sneak past groups of enemies and everything. And it's just kind of wow, all of these people that just say this thing is not worth using, they're just wrong.
And it may even just be the way that they chose to play makes it useless.
Yeah. But, I have a silenced pistol and a air rifle that fires, poison darts. And then I have an FAL. That's my, oh, crap, it's time to go loud. I got to defend myself. That's that gun. But also, that game does not have a lot of the... Despite, the era it's from, it doesn't have a lot of the post, Modern Warfare, shooter-isms.
Right.
There's, no weapon customization at all.
Right. And if my memory serves, it's pretty strict about you, only having so many weapons, but also, I remember reading an interview in Game Informer years ago where one of the devs was talking about, he's like, yeah, if we could go back, I would have probably tried to do some of our weapon balancing differently, but one I'll stand behind is having sniper rifles and RPGs technically being in the same class of weapon. Because it was because that just ruined game balance for people to be able to have a sniper and high RPGs at the same time.
Well, it's you could probably run something where you could have a grenade launcher as your pistol slot as your secondary gun slot, and then a sniper rifle as your primary slot.
Right.
And then you could have like the dart rifle as your... I assume you could do it like this. Because, yeah, like, certain guns only go into, like... Because you have 3 weapon slots, and some guns can only go into 1 slot. So it's not like in Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4, whichever, you can basically build a loadout of exactly how you want. Where it's like, you have an answer to every problem. So you've got a silenced, like, sniper rifle, you've got... an assault rifle, and then you've got, like, a grenade launcher or rocket launcher. So it's like, if you've got to deal with vehicles, you can. If you want to do everything stealthily from a distance, you can. If you need to do stuff up close, you can. And you're not told you can't do that. Whereas, well, and Far Cry 2 also has a system. It kind of forces you to wait a bit on it because you have to have enough money to buy it. But you can have weapon crates in your safe houses that are linked to weapon crates at the, like, gun store. And what you could do is you can put a different gun of each slot type in a case, and then, like, when you're going to do a mission, you can be like, oh, I need a grenade launcher for this mission. So then you go to your safe house and change out just that one gun at the gun case. And, like, I think that's a really interesting way of doing that, because it gives you a little bit of it rewards you for planning ahead, or kind of knowing like what you need to solve certain problems ahead of time. Anyway, yeah, Far Cry 2 is an interesting game, but I've been having to play it in bursts because the missions are just the same over and over. There's not really any depth to that game, and that's definitely something they improved upon in subsequent games, is the actual delivery of the story and the main missions and everything, because it very much feels like, so like the whole premise of Far Cry 2 is you've been sent to kill this weapons dealer called the Jackal, and when you arrive in town, you have like a malaria attack and you're like laid up sick, and the Jackal is there and he's talking to you, and then you're working trying to get the game is like telling you you're trying to get more information about the Jackal, but you're not. It's not like you're doing missions and every mission gives you a new piece of information you need to go after the Jackal, or like it's not like there's not like an investigation, right, that you're getting clues and evidence and stuff for that you have to complete before you go after him. It's just the game arbitrarily saying like, nope, you can't go after him. And when you reach kind of the middle point of the game, it does it again where like you are injured and he's there, and he doesn't try to kill you. He's just kind of like, yeah, things kind of suck around here, but somebody's got to do this. Well, anyway, I'll see you later. Yeah. And it just kind of,
like, he's just toying with you the whole time.
Yeah, and it's like he doesn't feel like he's a bad guy. He doesn't feel like he's an antagonist. He just feels like that's your mission, is to go after that guy. And
no matter what that old bitch McLaughlin says.
Oh, speech check. What you exchange for quit?
I want my debt with the Omertas paid off, and I want one of those severance package things. You do that until the.
So it's interesting how many times I've played this game. It's interesting how many times I've played this game with high speech, and now not having high speech, just kind of like all of the opportunities that I'm just like, nope.
Make a brief stop at the Atomic Wrangler.
Oh yeah, just being able to
booze is
see.
cheaper, the table's more friendly, and the women are just...
I kind of, like, I don't hate the way this game handles, like, speech checks, but I kind of like the idea of like leveling your speech should just unlock new dialogue that you don't see. It says speech. It just unlocks a thing that if you didn't know it, you wouldn't know that you unlocked that by having high speech.
Right. Well, and that's similar to like in Fallout 3. It's like the options don't even show up if you don't qualify to use them.
Yes, they do. Because, like, when you go to talk to Three Dog about where your dad is, you have a speech check there. And even if you have 100 in speech, I think your charisma ties into it as well. Because even if you have 100 in speech, you cannot get 100% to pass. Like, I had 100 in speech, and I think I had like a 60-something to pass the check.
I'm just... But there's one, like... Okay, no, I'm thinking of the ones, not speech checks, the skill checks.
Oh, like,
Welcome back.
Like there's a skill check, or it's not a skill check, it's a perk check.
Right.
For, like, Child at Heart.
Yes.
That you can get with McCready at Little Lamplight. But it doesn't show you, oh, you could do this if you just had this perk.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because New Vegas does the same thing with, like, Black Widow checks. It doesn't show you, oh, if only you had Black Widow.
But it will just give you
but at significant
this
cost.
Won't work.
I understand you not only agreed that the company payoff is gambling. I'm disappointed with this outcome.
Which, to be fair, is actually pretty funny.
It's been
But yeah, I would like it to be like that all of the time. Like, don't show me, oh, there's a speech 85 check here. Like part of the reward for investing in speech should be just having, like, even if you know, like, typically there's only 3 or 4 dialogue options, and now all of a sudden there's one more or something. But also, I think there should, I don't know, I don't dislike how the Fallout series handles skills, as far as, like, the skill checks and skill, what I'm thinking is, I don't dislike the game telling me, I don't dislike how it's handled, but I would like something that's more, that there's more player skill, not just character skill. So, if you invest in speech for your character, you see a thing that says, click here to do a speech check. Whereas I would like it to be, having high speech gives you the ability to select the right options. So, like, think about persuade versus intimidate versus, like pandering. Like think about the Oblivion persuasion pie. And just don't make it a mini game, a weird mini game like that. Make it be something like, oh, this guy you're talking to is an officer in the military. He is used to commanding people. He's used to leading people, but he hates, like, butt kissers. He hates brown nosing. And you can brown nose him in dialogue, and it will be detrimental to your interaction with him. Whereas,
how you can just fumble at the absolute last minute by mentioning retreat.
Yes, yeah. So now, like, I feel like not enough people talk about that because everybody's just like, it's kind of dumb that you go to fight the big guy at the end, and you're just like, he's just like, we are going to fight. And you're like, speech 100, no. And he's like, understandable, have a great day. Well, that's not it at all. Like, because, like you said, you can drop the ball. And I love that that's how you drop the ball. I love that you're having a discussion with him. Because
the thing is, you're not intimidating him. You're convincing him, Lanius, even if you could win the fight this time, would it be a win in the long run? And he's like, you're right. I should come back. I should withdraw now to build the strength to make sure my victory can be a lasting.
Yeah, because it's very
like,
much.
Yeah, and there's no shame in retreat. He'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He's like, he just sits there for a second, and he's just like you have insulted his honor.
Yeah.
And he's like,
he's
well,
perfectly happy to leave right up until the second that you imply it's because he's retreating. He's like, I'm not retreating.
Yeah.
I don't retreat.
Yeah, well, and that's because, like, Lanius is not a barbarian.
Nope.
Like, he is, well, and that's, like, your average legionnaire may be just nothing more than a raider or tribal, realistically, but the leadership of the Legion, they're not stupid.
Yeah, well, I mean, Joshua Graham was the first legate, so
yeah,
he's anything to go off of.
The Malpay legate. But yeah, that's the thing. I really like that you can drop the ball on that. Well, and the other thing is, it's not just that it's a series of increasingly difficult speech checks. There is an actual discussion happening between the courier and Lanius.
And I want to say that you can make it slightly easier if you talk to Graham beforehand.
Maybe.
Or, like, there's a few slightly different options you get that will lead to the same result if you talk.
Right.
Because you'll ask him, like, do you have any advice, like, if I go to fight Lanius? And he'll be like, I wouldn't try to fight him, but, you can try to remind him of what happened the last time the Legion took the dam. And like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, he was there. He wasn't a legate because, well, I was the legate, but he hasn't forgotten, and he knows what's at stake if he fails.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lean on that, you might be able to get him to leave.
Let's see if this lady has any
I've
shotgun
still got
mods.
guns and Sure.
But, you know, then again, I also like that, like how you have, oh, there's another guy down here. I like how, like in Baldur's Gate 3, I mean, because Baldur's Gate 3 is a D&D game. You're playing a version of 5th edition D&D. So when you're doing a skill check or something, it's a dice roll. And you see that well, and I've said this so many times before about how much I hate dice rolls in games because I can't see them.
Take a look.
And because I can see the dice roll in wow, really? Because I can see the dice roll in Baldur's Gate 3, like, it doesn't feel bad to fail. It doesn't just feel like the game is arbitrarily telling me no.
Well, that, and it also has a karmic dice feature.
I played with the karmic dice off because I don't know if this is true. I never looked into it, mostly because I didn't want to look up anything about the game. I wanted to be as blind as possible. I was told by Danny that the karmic dice basically means you can't just, like, fail. Like, it will say, okay, you've failed a few times in a row. We're going to throw you a bone here.
Yeah.
But the trade-off is if you, like, succeed a bunch of times in a row, it'll throw a failure at you. I don't want either of those things. I want it to be like if it's going to be a die roll, it should just be a die roll. There shouldn't be anything that can affect the die roll outside of bonuses, right? There shouldn't be a way, like like if we were playing D&D in person, I would not allow you to have a rigged set of dice to roll when you've been rolling bad all night. Like Sam, you've failed your past couple of rolls. Go ahead and break out the ones that are guaranteed to nat 20, right? That'd be boring, honestly. Who's this guy? He looks like somebody. Is he just a mercenary or a trader or something?
You seen that tower?
He's a prospector, okay.
You can see it for miles.
But,
you can rip out enemies' souls in this game. That's sick.
But yeah, my thing is, I really want to see some innovation. I want to see some people. I want to see a developer take lessons from these games and kind of like. Well, it's like I was talking about how I think it would be really cool to have an RPG. And Kingdom Come Deliverance is what made me think of this. I think Kingdom Come Deliverance is a Scrolls-like. It's like an Elder Scrolls game. In that, like, specifically in that it has that, like, use it to level up skill system. I love that skill system. I always have. And I've been saying for years that, like, well, especially since Bethesda has gone with a different way of handling skills in both Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, since they went for, like, different systems, I think they should just, honestly, I don't think it would be bad if Fallout had the Elder Scrolls leveling.
Happy to...
No. I'm torn on that because for me, I like leveling in Scrolls, but like the instant I try to think of what that system would be like in a game that doesn't already have it, it just pisses me off. And I have no rational basis for that.
Yeah. Well, and another thing is, like Kingdom Come Deliverance, I'm not a big fan of its combat system.
That's fair.
And, I mean, yeah, it tries to be something more than just swing the sword, right? And it's, you know, it's no big deal. Like I said, I'm just not a fan of it in application, right? I don't like how it feels. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I'm just not a big fan of it. But, like, what if you had a game that took, like, what if you had an RPG that had, like, let's just call it like an Elder Scrolls game where you know there's going to be like a Dark Brotherhood type thing, a Thieves Guild type thing. Like, you're going to have all those different options for things for your character to do. Now, what if in this game the combat, like melee combat, was based on a better melee combat game? Like, what if Elder Scrolls 6, they brought in the guys from Arcane and made, take Dark Messiah of Might and Magic and Dishonored and, like take that to another level. Right? Take that really satisfying melee combat they have, like swordplay, and put that in Elder Scrolls. And then, what if and it's like, I want to say it's something that Emil talks about with Oblivion, that one of the first things he saw happen was modders, like, modded in thief style stealth stuff. And of course the criticism is kind of like, he knew they were going to do that anyway, so he didn't bother making the Thieves Guild like Thief. But that's what they should do, is if you're going to have stealth gameplay, have it be based on good stealth systems. And do the same thing for magic. Now, I don't know... I don't typically play magic playstyles in RPGs, and I know I'm missing out in some cases, but, like, bring in magic... Like, look at the magic systems in other RPGs and have that be what your Mages Guild stuff is based on. Like, have the spells be more impact. Like go back to the Morrowind days of just being a really powerful wizard, and that being a
Morrowind and Daggerfall.
Oh yeah.
If you played your cards right, you could nuke. Like, you pretty much could destroy everything in the Iliac Bay with a properly attuned spell.
Right. Well, but that's the thing. Like, I want to see a RPG like an Elder Scrolls game, but that the systems are more dialed in. Instead of the systems being more general, I want to see it where each system has, like, your stealth system, your magic system, your combat system, each has, like, proper depth.
You want every style to be given the chance to cook.
Yeah.
Hey! Come on!
Oh no! Okay. Because I want it to be something like... I want to feel like... Oh, wow. I want you to feel like, wow, I chose to play Magic, and I'm enjoying it. But I can't just start playing another playstyle. Not without some kind of system of re-speccing your character. I want to see, like, exclusivity to a playstyle. Well, exclusivity, and I want to see, like, hybrid builds. Like, you should absolutely be able to make a spell sword and it be good, and not feel like a compromise. But at the same time, like, well, it's like I said, you know, like, Skyrim has that problem of you can do everything. You can do, well, and, like, the big problem being, like, you can do the College of Winterhold questline without ever using more than, like, super basic magic. And in, like, one of the instances where you have to use magic to progress a quest, they put the spell books in the room.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, at the very beginning when it's like, oh, hey, if you're just wanting to come to the college to try to learn magic, well, you need to have an aptitude for magic to be eligible. So
yeah.
Here, let's see if you can cast this spell. That makes perfect sense. For them to say, okay, here's a tome that will teach you how to cast a basic fireball spell. If you can do that, you have some magical aptitude and we can work with that. So you use the book. Okay, can you cast a fireball? Bam. Okay, then you can be a student.
Yeah.
You can start to learn and grow.
But that's
like being in that room where you have to use the freeze spell or the heat spell to move the tumblers, and it's just in there. Like, that was handsome.
Yeah. And that's, like, that's done out of a fear of, well, we don't want the player to get stuck.
Yeah, well, and it's like, well, Todd's a barbarian, and we don't want Todd to... And that's nothing against Todd, it's just he likes playing barbarians, and that's fine.
Well, and it's like, I would expect if you were going to make a game, as much as you like playing, like, a spell sword, that you're not going to make that the only viable playstyle, or you're not going to design everything around, like, a spell sword coming in there and completing that quest. Like, oh, well, a spell sword's not going to be really good at stealth, so we need to have a way for... Well, but see, that's another thing.
The exception being, if it's, like... if it is just like the character is defined as a spell sword and that's your one character, deal with it. But then the trade-off for that is going to be, it's going to be the best experience you have ever had playing a spell sword.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing, like...
Because I kind of realized as I've kind of tuned that idea of my ideal character more and more, I was like, I feel like there's a couple of different possible expressions of my ideal character, like, one of which is just a Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Jedis are a fantastic example of a spell sword, especially with all the different directions that Jedi can go.
Well, that's like, I don't know if I told you about this, but I definitely had this conversation with somebody where, like, I described kind of some traits I really like in a character as some gameplay stuff that's similar to how Ciri plays in Witcher 3. How she has that, like, blink dodge, you know, she's got the sword play and all that kind of stuff. Like, I really like the high mobility swords person, high mobility swordsman with, like, some magical ability of some kind, and, like, yeah, like that being kind of a core of what I like. And then I realized that you can build a character like that in Cyberpunk. Like, if you have the, like, double jump, the air dash, like, you get all of these really insane mobility upgrades, and then you spec into melee, like, so you can have a character that's wielding a sword that's super high mobility, that is just dashing and jumping and just legitimately just zooming around combat encounters. And it's just really funny to me because I was like, when I heard that they, like, quote unquote nerfed Ciri for Witcher 4, as in she's not going to just have a lot of the abilities she has in Witcher 3, I was sad. But then when I realized, like, wait, I can just play the character I'm wanting to play in Cyberpunk, I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm okay. All right, let's talk to my wife.
Looking for trouble?
Crimson Caravan sent me. They want to buy out your caravan.
They want to buy Cassidy caravans? Don't they know it's burned to ash? No. Even times being what they are. Not sure I'm looking to sell. Even for all the whiskey in Reno.
And the whole time the game's like, hey, the longer you stay in the Umbral Realm, the more likely it is that enemies that you're not strong enough to fight will start to realize you're in the Umbral Realm and will come looking for you. I'm like, okay.
Oh, interesting.
Mojave happened. Hit by raiders packing some heavy firepower. Can't believe the Crimson Caravan haven't heard.
Like, see that
so if you want to buy all of Cassidy caravans, you're looking at it. And what I got in my pockets. Still, as little as that is,
if you don't
not
just
looking to
get
sell.
a move on. You're not supposed to stay in the Umbral Realm, bud.
Mm.
If someone came up to you and offered you 1,000 caps for your name, would you take it?
For my hubris by
Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I don't want to
with
hear your answer anyway.
Swords and the
Point
ability to
is,
just blink
I
in
made
and
the
out
caravan
of
what it is.
reality
It's
just
mine.
Absolutely pantsed me. But at least it looks cool.
Alice McLafferty, eh? No,
And
I see
also,
the
like,
zeros,
visually,
and I
I
know
was
she's
able
good
to
for
tell
them.
exactly what happened.
Still,
Oh,
it's not
okay,
about the
that
money.
was the mechanic.
Dad'd spin like a twister if he ever heard I sold our name for
I
anything.
fear that they may have in fact cooked with this particular game.
Ladies and gentlemen, just with great regret that I tell you that they may have cooked.
Oh no, it's not with great
Look,
regret.
I know you came
but
all
it
this
is my
way,
solemn
and that
duty
takes
to
some
avoid
drive,
you.
especially these days.
Here's
Just
Rogar,
doesn't feel right.
the Iron
Trading
Wayfarer.
history for a slip of paper.
I just noticed that we've had our Discord chat invaded, Samuel.
Oh no. Who are you? Who are you?
I can't tell if he's trying to talk to us and it's just not happening, or if I can't tell. It's like lighting up, but whew. Okay, so like we were talking about skill checks. So like I'm talking to Cass about buying out her caravan, and it's like there's 2 different barter checks. One is a 50, one's a 75. There's 2 different speech checks. One's a 50 and one's a 75. Then there's a forget it, I had something else I wanted to ask, and never mind, I'll be going.
You take care now.
Like, I can't remember if there's another solution to this quest other than to do those skill checks. Because, well, and that's the way it should be. Like, you should have quests. What the heck? Oh, I thought that guy had a service rifle. I thought there was just, like, a random dude in, like, hobo clothes with a service rifle out here. But yeah, that's the way it should be. Like, okay, how much of Starfield did you play, Sam?
Oh, I barely made it like an hour and a half in. I got to I completed the first dungeon, got to the first planet, and then was just like, I just kind of realized, I sat straight up and just realized, I don't care, and then just turned the game off.
Wow. And
like,
see,
not even as like, oh, this is bad. It was just like, I am not getting enough neuron activation to which to continue.
Okay, you know that meme where it's like a little guy and he's got like a pickaxe and he's like been digging a tunnel and he's like walking away like he's giving up, and it's like there's diamonds just past where he's like giving up, and it's like the idea is like, you know, don't give up because the treasure's right there.
The gamblers quit before they win big.
Yeah, exactly. But I was thinking about that with what you just said and how that's just not applicable because it's Starfield.
It's not even that there's necessarily trash. It's just like
there's nothing there.
Yeah, it's just
more tunnel to dig.
Yeah.
And like I hate
more
that's
tunnel, no neuron activation.
I hate that it's like I can't tell you like, nah man, you need to give it another chance. Like I have no reason to tell you to give it another chance. And that sucks.
You said it'd be so cool.
But what I was gonna say is, okay, it's been talked about by a lot of other people and everything. It's not new to me, of course, but the concept that the 3 main planets, one of them's like Battlestar Galactica / the Star Trek Federation. The other main planet is, hey, did you know that Red Dead Redemption 2 came out while we were developing this? And then
it was cool. And
yeah, and the other planet is, hey, Cyberpunk 2077 came out while we were developing this. And on Neon, the Cyberpunk planet, and I say that using Cyberpunk in the most loose way I possibly can, in Neon, there is a corporation that you can work for doing like corporate espionage.
Right.
And that sounds cool until you do, and it's on its face, it's one of those things where if you made a bunch of improvements, it could be really cool, but you would have to do a lot of work to do that, like a lot of modding and everything. But very specifically, like one of the problems with it is the stealth in that game is not good, and they're sending you to do stealth. They're sending you to do... No, you don't understand. It's not even as good as Skyrim. That's the problem. It is a decided downgrade. And it's... Okay, so listen. Why was Magic downgraded from Oblivion and Morrowind? Because it was too powerful. So why was Stealth downgraded? Because everybody, quote unquote, everybody plays Stealth Archer. So they made Stealth suck. And some of the stealth missions are like, okay, we need you to sneak in over here to this, corporate office, and we need you to log onto one of the computers and, like, plug this virus into it so that we can spy on them and steal their corporate secrets. And
Is there not one of these where, like, it can happen that it's, like, you get caught by the guy and he's like, hold on, like, you match the description of someone we were told to be on the lookout for, and it's like a speech should be like, no, you match the description.
Oh, I have no idea, but...
Because I've seen that, and I was like, you've got to be kidding.
No, I have no idea, but the problem is it'll be like, okay, you're told you have to sneak into this office building and upload this stuff and everything, and you're like, okay, all right, well, I've got my speech, or I've got my stealth skills, I've got a silence gun in case I need it, but there's a bonus for not killing anybody. Like, okay, all right, okay. And then you go there, and, like, you take the elevator up to the offices, and there's people on the floor of that office, like, walking around, and they'll, like, talk to you, like, hey, how are you doing today? And then you just walk past them to where there's, like, a cubicle, and you go into stealth mode in the cubicle, and you interact with the computer, and you put the virus on it, and then you just stand back up and walk out. That's the entirety of the stealth mission. And it's like, that's it? It sucks. And it's like, it's because, like, I was actually telling Noah, because he likes Cyberpunk 2077. I said, dude, you need to play the Deus Ex games. Like, all of the Deus Ex games are worth playing, but especially the, like, Square Enix developed ones, or sorry, like the... What was the actual... Is it Crystal Dynamics? The name of the company that made Human Revolution and Mankind Divided?
Oh, no, Eidos.
No, it's Eidos, okay.
Yeah, it's Eidos Montreal.
Eidos Montreal, okay. Well, take those two games and, like, the gameplay, and that's pretty similar to some of the stealth stuff in Cyberpunk. And that's what Starfield is not. Oh, and another thing.
Well, yeah, because, like, any game that's going up against Mankind Divided is already gonna have a hard time being as good, because Mankind Divided is rad.
Yeah, but here's another thing. They I'm getting dry mouth all of a sudden because I've been talking. Oh, is this a hollow rock? Dang. You coming too? Aw. The baby. You've gained the Lord Death perk. Sorry, one of the other things I wanted to talk about with Starfield is when you go to Aquila, the Red Dead Redemption planet, there's this, like, the people talk about these creatures, the Ashta, and they're like, you're gonna get eaten alive by Ashta, the Ashta this, the Ashta that, they're so tough and so scary, and where most of what we do around here is just protect the people from the Ashta. And you're like, oh wow, what are these Ashta things? Like, are they like some kind of, like, huge alien creature that's like super terrifying and hard to deal with? And then you go and do the main quest stuff on Aquila, and you come out of this dungeon. Oh, just a little gecko guy. You come out of this dungeon, and you have, like, a social interaction with this gang called the Shaw Gang, and you can solve it peacefully and everything, but then you get attacked by the Ashta, and they're like the size of a dog. They're not a problem. They're not hard to deal with. But everybody on that planet has been talking about them like they are an existential threat to the settlers.
Right.
And I don't understand. Like, you have to wonder, like, did they write all of this like this was going to be this big existential threat before they designed the Ashta?
Possibly.
And like, were the Ashta designed by a different group of people? Oh shoot, that's a glowing one. It's gonna have a lot of health. Okay. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know, Salt Factory did his whole video on Skyrim where he said it was a very shallow experience. Yep. And I disagree with that premise of that video and everything, but whatever. Starfield is the shallow experience. There is no... And... the ship combat in that game is abysmal. Like, the ship combat... Listen, I am not ashamed to admit this. I got to a point playing Starfield that whenever I jumped into orbit for a planet or something and had to do space combat, I hit the tilde key and typed in TGM. And I do not feel ashamed for doing that. And here's the thing. I beat the game, you know, I put over, I think I put over 100 hours into it. I'm not sure. But I beat the game and, you know, haven't really felt the need to play it again. And there's not even, like, mods being, like, worked on that make me want to go back to it. But...
Oh, yeah, no, there's almost no modding scene for Starfield. It's wild to me.
Yeah, like
little mod support.
If you go to...
Rather, like, how much work is being done. Because, like, the support is there, like, tech-wise. Like, Bethesda is letting people. It's just people don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's not like... Well, if you go to Nexus, like, right now... And it's... What's crazy is if you go to Nexus right now... On the, like, top 10... games that it shows mods available for, most of them are Bethesda games. Yeah. It's Skyrim, it's Oblivion, it's Morrowind. Well, it's not a Bethesda game, but you know, New Vegas. But if you actually go look for mods for Fallout 3, there's no modding scene for that game. There's no big overhaul mods. There's one mod called A Tale of Two Wastelands.
Yes.
Which combines 3 and New Vegas into like one experience, and that's kind of interesting. But other than that, there's nothing on the scale of what you see for other Bethesda games. And there's nothing like Starfield's not on that like top thing. And when you go look at the Starfield mods, it's like, here's a mod that lets you open the console without turning off achievements. It's like modding out stupid decisions that Bethesda made. Because listen, it's not that you like, oh, well, they turned it off so you can't just get the achievement for having 10,000 credits by giving yourself 10,000 credits. Like, they can program it to not let you do that anyway. The problem is, I had to open the console and get myself unstuck. Like, I was physically stuck in the game, and I didn't want to reload a save. I just, like, no-clipped out of it, and that turned my achievements off. And that's stupid. But, anyway, yeah, there's no modding scene. There's nobody's doing some big, you know, Tamriel rebuilt level thing to make Starfield the game it should have been. And another thing is, they released an update for that game sometime after I finished it, which lets you, like, piecemeal change the difficulty.
Right.
And you can basically make the ship combat not awful, as far as difficulty goes. instead of fixing the ship combat, let's just make it to where you can just turn off the difficulty problem.
Well, I mean, actually fixing and tuning a thing is difficult. Now that said, though, I do actually like when games allow you, instead of just merely easy, normal, hard, allow you to do, like, okay, like, you have your baseline, like, but then you can go in and tweak specific parameters of game difficulty. Like, The Last of Us 2 apparently, like, basically paved the way for that in a lot of ways, because it was super granular. Like, you could set it to, like, you could set the difficulty, and then from there go and tweak, like, how long it takes enemies to detect you, like, whether or not your, like, hearing mode works, like, that sort of thing, or, like, how aggressive enemies are, how much health they have versus how much health you have, like, that sort of thing. And to me, that's really interesting, because I like the idea of, like, if a player is, like...
What business have you in Cottonwood
Cove, outsider? If the enemies were just, like, a little less aggressive, I'd be fine. And you can just tweak that. Like, you can make them, like, 20% less aggressive. And okay, great. That's fine. Everything else can be exactly the same. Or if you're like, I would prefer the enemies have the health pool that they have on hard, but not the damage they deal. Like, okay. Or, like, in the Devil May Cry games, a lot of people never realize this because they don't go above normal, but the enemies, like, even basic enemies, get more and more complicated the higher difficulty you go. So I think it would be neat for people that want to be able to say, no, I want to fight the enemies at the level of complexity of the highest difficulties, but I'm not ready for how much damage they do.
Right.
That sort of thing. I think that would be really cool to be able to do that, or like, I want the enemy layouts that I get on higher difficulties, but like I want the damage, like, parameters and all of normal, that sort of thing. That would be, most games I think could benefit from that.
Yeah, and because I was thinking about this with, like, Far Cry 2, as much as I'm liking the game, well, and it's also, I've been thinking about it with the Halo games as I've been playing those, is I don't like when a developer's idea of difficulty is the enemy does more damage to you and you do less damage to them. Like, okay, when we were playing Ground Branch the other day, you notice that, like, we could kill enemies, like, super fast.
Yep.
But we can also be, like, killed super fast. So that's the way it should work. It should be, you are capable of doing to them what they can do to you. So if in a shooter, if I have, like I really don't like in some of the Halo games where you've got an enemy that you just put 150 rounds into them before they die, but if they shoot you once, you're dead. Right? Because they have some big, like, plasma cannon thing. And I don't like that. Like, the way it should work is, like, I don't know. I think the problem is I have this whole idea that Master Chief is a super soldier, and he's going in there, like, I don't know if you've ever noticed that, like, Green Berets and Delta Force and Navy SEALs, they don't use standard issued equipment, right? Like, they are using different stuff than the standard issue for their branch.
Yeah.
Like, they're using different rifles and different, body armor. They're using different stuff. So you've got this super soldier who's supposed to be, like, the pinnacle of, like, human performance, and he's using a basic assault rifle that enemies just soak it up. And, like, at least give me a thing where it's like, oh shoot, we were never prepared to fight something like the Covenant.
You wear the mark of Caesar. You must be who Cursor Lucullus is waiting for. You may continue, but be warned. Mark or no, we will not tolerate aggressive action by visitors in the camp.
But anyway, like, I like what you're talking about, like, for one, piecemeal difficulty, but like having such granularity as to be able to
Take your place on the boat.
do like what you're saying, where it's like, oh, you have the enemy placement, you have the complexity,
By order of Caesar, all visitors must disarm
complexity
and
of combat and
relinquish all
everything,
banned
but
items.
without the
This order
punishment,
also extends to the platinum chip you carry.
the punishing
For now.
difficulty, rather.
Especially because, like,
Your
I see
belongings-
that in games like Devil May Cry as getting practice so that you can get up to the point where, okay, like, you can handle the patterns, like, you understand them. Now can you handle them when we shrink the margin of error that you're allowed to make?
So you're the visitor I've heard
When
some of
we
the
start
legionaries
saying, okay,
talking
now
about.
they're doing more damage.
Have a
so
look.
if you make a mistake, it matters more. Now can you succeed? Like,
Right.
like the like, there's like even like as silly a comparison it is like Guitar Hero, when you could put the cheats in to make the songs play faster.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like there were people that would play on medium but play it like 3 times
Pleasure doing
faster
business with you.
because they couldn't handle a 5-button scheme.
Yeah.
But they still wanted the speed of expert.
See,
Or they would see that as like practice of like, okay, like if I can consistently play fast enough on 4, when I'm playing like several times faster than even expert will send stuff my way, I can probably handle easier songs at expert now. Okay, now I can move up, like I can get better. Skill building.
I like how the Legion slaves that are walking around with these like big sacks on their back, to make them look like they're burdened by them, they just limp. Like they like their limbs are disabled. Like that's how they achieve that. Oh, I hate. Like these are like the only kids in New Vegas that I hate. These like Legion kids.
What the F is this?
It cracks me up how the Legion have this like pseudo Roman aesthetic with their armor and everything, and then like you'll just see a guy with a mohawk, and he'll have a mohawk and like aviators on. I forgot there's a character here named Siri.
A free woman. It's been a while since I've seen a woman who wasn't a slave. I forget myself. Are you injured?
Oh, I wonder. So, hold on. I'm talking to this Legion slave named Siri, and she asks if I'm injured, and you can ask her if she's a doctor, but you can say about the effectiveness of your healing powders. I wonder if there's a medicine check here about
What
it.
about it? Do you have some advice?
Oh, survival 20. You are using 1 Brockflower per Xander root, right?
Oh, I've been using 2 roots per flower. Thanks to you, I'll be able to create twice as much healing powder per day.
Wow.
For sale? I'm a slave, not a merchant. I could give you some healing powder every day, but...
That's okay. So it was basically a survival skill check, and it's like you're using this like 2-to-1 ratio, right? And she's like, yeah. And it's like, yeah, just use a 1-to-1 ratio. And she's like, wow, thanks to you, I'll be able to make twice as more. It's like, it's like, are you stupid?
He's like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little retarded.
Dude, have you seen what Alex Jones looks like right now?
Apparently he's lost some weight.
Yeah, well, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I think he must have been like juicing or something like that. Like he looked unhealthy, like super unhealthy. Like he was really red, and I think I actually have to talk to Kaisar. He was like red and bloated and just, well, it could have been like alcohol use as well that was the bloatedness. But anyway, he put out some new video or whatever, and people on Twitter were like, wow, Ozempic's a heck of a drug.
Oh yeah, no, like they're, although the sad thing is I didn't know this, but like Ozempic can like basically make you unable to control your bowels if you're not careful.
Hmm.
Which, like, I know, like, of a few people that take it, and they all, like, are, like, very closely working with their doctors and, like, always making sure they're doing it correctly, but still, I'm just like... One of them is actually a good friend of mine that's a preacher. I'm like, I hope it works for you, buddy. I really hope it does not make you soil yourself in the middle of the sun. If that happened to me, I would have to go home and kill myself.
Well, and it's also like, I've heard of a lot of people on Ozempic just looking worse because of it.
Yeah. And like, there's the jokes, like, I think it was like Miranda Lambert that was using it. And,
oh, I could see that.
And like, the joke was that like her butt wasn't as big afterward, and so people were mad about that.
See, it wouldn't even be that, like, when I say, like, I've heard about people, like, I mean, like, people looking bad as far as, well, I mean, like, and you know from experience, like, losing a lot of weight very quickly can lead some people, like, you know, you've got the excess skin, you've got stuff like that, but, like, some people, the excess skin is, like, at their face and neck. So you have this person that has, like, a gaunt face with, like, just, like, loose skin at the neck and everything. And it's like, you know, you could have just not let yourself get there to start with.
Yeah. And that's true, but at the same time, it's also like, well, I'm already here.
All right. Let's
like,
talk.
I'm very fortunate to not have all of my excess skin be on my face.
Yeah, like your face definitely looks different. Well, like your like whole head looks different. Not, and it's like you didn't.
A whole different like side of my genetics was allowed to be prominent.
Yeah, basically, like, but that's the thing is like when you were overweight, like you didn't carry a ton of it in your face, but you carried a lot.
Yeah.
And with that gone, it's like whoa, like your head went from being round to being, like, elongated. All right, we're going to talk to Kaisar.
Like, so I finally get to meet the courier who's accomplished so much in so little time.
That's why I summoned you here, right?
I never realized.
I mean, a man nearly kills you, and your response is to track him across the breadth of the Mojave. You arrive on the strip and waltz into the Lucky 38 like someone left you a key under the doormat. You assassinate the head of the chairman in his own
my
casino
grandmother and my
get away with it.
sister both.
Then something happens to Mr. House's robot, some kind of military upgrade.
And I was just like, I mean, hey,
when you set your mind to something, you get results.
James King.
I like that.
Handsome
the question
fella.
Is,
James King was enough of a stud to pull Elaine Mills back in the day, so that's a high quality man. So that's a high compliment.
Did you just say your grandpa and your grandma were both hot? That's like, that's really weird, dude.
Nah, man. Like, I mean, hey, I'm not gay, but real gotta recognize real. James was a handsome dude. And also, of course I'm gonna think my grandma's pretty. She's my grandma.
Alright, just gonna have to write that one down.
But also, but really, like, my grandmother was, like, very much sought after. She was a valedictorian. You're
just like, you're making this worse for yourself. Next you're gonna be like, dude, she just had a dump truck of a butt, and I'm just gonna be real with you, man. Like she had the booty, but you know, also great rack on the woman. Love her to death. Like I don't talk about family members. What are you doing?
I think there is a hard distinction to be made here. There is.
No. The problem is, like, I'm using an extreme example, and you're saying that because your example is not extreme, it's not weird. It's still weird.
Sure, but I mean, say it's weird if you like.
I will. I did. I'm gonna go in our group chat and be like, fellas, is it weird to think your grandma was hot? And then
I think she was hot.
Yes, hold on a second.
Pretty.
Okay, yeah, sure. I think your exact words were, "My grandpa was enough of a stud to pull my grandma," and then I said, "Are you saying your grandpa? Did you just say your grandma and grandpa are hot?" And you said something to the effect of, "My grandmother was really sought after."
She was.
She was. I don't care. I'm not saying it's not factually true. I'm just saying it's weird for you to say it like that.
I'll be like, how else would I say it then?
You could be like, all right, let's back it up. You were talking about your grandfather being a handsome guy or something like that. So like the compliment was 2 members of your family said that you looked like your handsome grandfather, and you're like, cool. And you're like, I will hope I'm as lucky as my handsome grandfather who like had a good-looking wife and a family and all. Like I hope I can succeed where he succeeded, but like, and then you could say like to my criticism, you could say like, well, my grandmother was a nice nice-looking lady when she was younger, and a lot of guys were interested in her and everything. Like, yeah, sure, but to be like, yo, my granddad was hot and so was my grandma, just really took me off guard.
You didn't say they were hot.
Yes, you did.
No.
Like, play the stream back. He said. Okay, but hold on. We're talking to Kaisar, and my dialogue options here. How may I serve your legion, Kaisar? What were you looking to start? Just give me the platinum chip and I'll be on my way. And how do you know so much about me and I should be going? I actually already know the answer to how much do you know so much about me, because he's got a spy network. They've been following me. They pay attention. But
they do be out there paying attention.
The time is fast approaching when my legion will assault the Great Dam and invade the West.
Okay.
Before that happens, I want Mr. House knocked out of the game. A quick 1-2.
What do you want me to do?
Down the hill, at the west edge of camp, is an old building. It was here when the fort was taken in.
Yeah, okay.
Inside the building is a hatch.
Yeah.
And now that same sigil is on the platinum chip you were carrying.
Yeah.
Even more interesting, there's a slot about the same size as the chip on the console that opens. I think the platinum chip opens those doors. Doors that can't be pried open or drilled open.
Okay, hang on. Kaisar gets memed on a lot for not understanding Hegelian dialectics and things like that. But his dialogue here, he's like, he just said to me, in so many words, he was like, when we took this fort, that building over there was here. And in that building, there are doors with the logo for the Lucky 38. And that platinum chip that you have also has the logo of the Lucky 38. And in that building over there, there's a console. And that console has a slot in it, the same size and shape as that chip. So I think it opens that door, don't you? And it's like, dude, just say, here at the fort, there's a door that chip will open. Why are you being weird about this?
He has a brain tumor, man.
He's okay, that's true, but that is some autism talking.
Yeah, the tumor is pressing on the part of his brain
I want you
that
to
makes
destroy
you more
whatever you
autistic.
find in there, and then I want you to come back here and tell me about it. So go to the building and take this fucking platinum chip with you. My legionaries will meet you there.
Also, he just said, take this effing platinum chip with you. And it's like, what was the point of that? Like, I feel like he would be, like, okay, he is supposed to be this, like, well-spoken,
Some of the slaves have been spreading stories about the burned man.
where do I get my gear? I get my gear back from somebody. Maybe it's at the thing. Okay, but I'm trying to think. I want to say Kaisar's real name is something like Edward Sallow.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
All right, he was
a real nerd sounding.
Yeah, he was a member of the Followers of the Apocalypse. He was well educated, and you know, we assume he'd be like, you know, a smart, educated, like well-spoken guy, given his backstory and like how he. Are you the one that gives me my stuff?
None may enter without seizing.
Who gives me my stuff?
Kaisar
There
has
we go.
permitted your weapons to be. Kaisar has put a lot of trust in.
Oh, great. I've played myself. So... I've really played myself. Okay, I'm gonna drop this because I don't need it. I need to lose 5 pounds of weight. I should have sold some of this. Oh, I don't need that machete on me. I should have sold some of this stuff before I came down here. Okay, I'm okay now. Okay. I really hope this doesn't go miserably. Okay, I'm actually going to make a hard save right here. Dude, my karma level is referred to as Sword of Despair.
Obsidian really thought they were doing something with those titles.
Yeah. Alright, now to take some of this Radix I've been hoarding. Hello, it's Senor... By the way, I learned that if you collect the platinum chip and come here, and this is the first time that you talk to House, he has special dialogue.
Right.
Like, how'd you get here? How'd you do this?
Stop wasting time. Go upload the data on the platinum chip to the facility's primary computer.
All right. So this playthrough, I decided I want to do. I wanted to do House. Dude, it took almost a full tube of 12 gauge to kill that Protectron. Maybe if I switch to like slugs. Okay. Oh yeah, there's a plasma rifle here.
Sprint while blocking. That's silly.
Ooh, those are useful. Those are useful. So, you know, we've been criticizing other games and stuff. I'm going to mention something I think is a little weird in this game.
Okay.
So, House's whole thing was he had the platinum chip made with, like, the data on it that he needed to have a full-powered, like, defense grid and, like, the Protectrons and all that would be full power. Oh, this is the room. This is going to be the bad touch.
That's why you gotta have the pulse slates.
Well, see, I got some pulse grenades here. Oh, I'm in the wrong tab. Okay. Sorry, but anyway. So he had this whole plan, right? And that plan was subverted by, like, the bombs fell, like, the day before this stuff was supposed to be delivered. But, like, why did it take over 200 years for him to get his stuff? Because he said, like, that they spent all this time, like, searching and searching and searching for it. But why did it take 200 years? How could they be searching for it for that long? And they only found it sometime like right before this starts. I don't know, it's weird to me. Actually, I'm not spec'd into... Ooh! I had accidentally hit the auto walk button and just walked into a room and got shot. Oh. This is gonna be such a hard... I don't know. Like I said, it feels weird to me that it would take so long for them to find the chip, and then like it just so happens to be they finally found it, and it was like I feel like there's a better way to write. Oh, we couldn't find it for so long.
Have you ever tried to go for a bunch of rebels? It takes a while, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is the stuff I have to destroy for Kaisar. So even though I'm not spec'd into energy weapons, these energy weapons are really, really helping. Oh, now there's Tyler. He disappeared for a while.
I'll do it again.
Just that picture of Goofy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it again. I'm just in this situation where I'm shoveling food and drink into my mouth to heal.
Yeah, man. I was just taking damage over time and overhealing.
That's all I got.
I love... Hold on. This room I'm in, there's like this window you look out, and there's supposed to be all of these protectrons, and it's supposed to make you think... Or not protectrons, securitrons. And it's supposed to make you think there's this huge... this huge army, and... because I'm playing on like modern hardware, realistically it's just like 10 guys. It is so loud in here. Oh, crap. I ate that and it dropped my endurance. Wow. So on hardcore, Radaway works over time. Like it's not instant. Oh my gosh. It is so loud in that room that I like couldn't even hear you talking.
No, that's because I wasn't talking.
Well, no, like I couldn't hear anything. It was like because it plays this track that's supposed to be like very martial sounding. Of like, oh, it's...
You've carried out Caesar's will, but I must...
Oh. Here you go.
You're free to...
He's like, you've carried out Caesar's will. Yep, that's... Yep, I did. Let me just leave, suspiciously. Also, just the fact that they had the idea, not let alone that they implemented it, to have people pronounce Kaiser differently.
Oh, yeah, that was rad. True to Kaiser.
And that being a, like, you could kind of tell... Well, some people are like, oh, well, if somebody says Kaiser, that obviously means that they're pro-Legion. And the funny thing about that is, like, Easy Pete, who is just a random, like, retired prospector in a small town, calls him Kaiser.
Right.
And they're like, oh, is he pro-Legion? It could just be that he knows about Legion. He knows about the Legion because he's, like, met people from the Legion.
Oh, you got it.
Who would have said Kaiser. The real question is, like...
Or, like, it could have even been that, like, at one point he was part of the Legion and left.
Yeah, I don't know, but...
I mean, that's less likely, granted, because he probably would have mentioned that.
Yeah, exactly. But no, part of my thinking is... Alright, which one of you has my stuff?
Awe. True to Kaiser. Awe, are you ready to... Very well.
Does that return my stuff to me? You retrieved your confiscated equipment. Okay. But, okay. Here's a better question. Why do people say Caesar? Like, why would anybody in this area say Caesar if this dude shows up saying, I'm Kaiser, and this is Kaiser's Legion? Why would anybody mispronounce it as Caesar? Like, saying Caesar is an outcome of ecclesiastical Latin. Like, that's... I just... Unless they had holotapes of history lessons and things like that that say Julius Caesar, like, how would anybody know to say Caesar instead of Kaiser? It's just... somebody screaming, he's thinking too hard about it, get him!
They're just deep thoughts with the deep. God bless it. I missed that jump. But hey, the video game was merciful and gave me a second chance. How considerate.
Oh yeah, Tyler, I meant to ask you, did it snow up there recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow...
Yeah, just a touch.
I follow Tim Kaine on YouTube, and he had put up a video from his, like, house saying that he was snowed in, and he showed the snow outside, and he's in Seattle, so I figured if it snowed there, it snowed where you are.
Yeah. We had 2 rounds of snow, both just left to dusting. But since it's still cold, it took a while for the... Like, there's still snow on the grass on the side of the road.
The grass.
Dude, okay.
It's on my grass.
So, you know, the other day or it was like last night or whatever, you told me that guy drove down the road with his loud car exhaust. I heard an exhaust like that here and had, like, a Vietnam flashback. It's just that it happened every single day.
Yep.
And it happens at, like, the same time every day.
You would have loved Nicaragua then, man. Just every morning, just Hispanic city noises.
Well, it's okay. It's like, okay, you misunderstand. It's not the fact that there was, like, noises. It's the fact that it was the same loud, horrible exhaust at the same time every day. It wasn't like at 6 in the morning. It was always at like 10 p.m. This guy would tear down the main stretch through the town with his loud exhaust. And, well, and it's like, because like what there was during the like morning was I would wake up at like 4 in the morning, it would be dead quiet. Like, just beyond quiet. And then it gradually, like sometime before 5 or around 5, suddenly it would, the sound would start kind of picking up as people were like going to work and everything. And so, by about 5:30 to 6 o'clock in the morning, it's nothing but road noise. It's like, yeah, that was kind of annoying because I would like to sleep in or something, but I have to... Oh my gosh, there's so many of them running at me. Oh yay, these are fire geckos. Okay, where's the wrecked... Where's that wrecked highwayman? I think it's...
Along the coach road.
I must have just gotten enough XP to get a level, but because I was in combat, the level up menu didn't pop up, and the moment I shot this enemy, it was like my gun went off and the menu popped up. Alright, let's put some more into guns. Get close to maxing out the guns. I need to put some in medicine. Put more in repair. But yeah, I managed to get through the dungeon. See, I thought like activating the stuff with the platinum chip took longer, but I managed to get through it pretty quick. Even... Oh, turn the radio off. Licensed music.
Turn your radio off.
Turn off the radio.
Turn it off, son.
I think I'm actually close to that wrecked highwayman. It's either this map marker I'm coming up on, or it's like over that way more. Yeah, I think this is it. Actually, I don't want to waste my shotgun shells on these bugs. Dude, there is a like ability in this game to eat bugs if you sneak up to them undetected. All right. What's in the box? So one of the things that the J. Sawyer mod did was when you find this wrecked highwayman, like that's where like the armored Vault 13 jumpsuit and the Vault 13 canteen are. And like I like that. And now that I've visited it, I feel like I have the okay to use my trusty Vault 13 flask, because that flask significantly lessens the challenge of having to stay hydrated.
take a sip during cutscenes.
Yeah, which is funny to be talking to somebody and then it's just like you take a sip from your trusty Vault 13 because it's like I just imagine the courier just sitting there dead silently like like
Boone is telling him like, this is where I watched my wife die.
Yeah. No, that's not where Boone watched his wife die.
That's where Boone killed his
That's where Boone killed his wife.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry to spoil that for you, Tyler. So, like, all right, Tyler. So the story is, this guy you meet in this town. When you meet him, he's like really a jerk to you, and he's really standoffish. But like he realizes, like, wait, you're not from around here. And you're like, yeah. And he says, okay, then you might be able to help me because I should be able to trust you because I know you're not like part of the conspiracy. And he tells you that his wife was sold into slavery by somebody in town and he doesn't know who did it. And you can find out who did it, and then you lead them into an ambush where Boone kills them. And then Boone, after that, can be your companion. And if you do Boone's companion quest, you'll eventually find out that he tracked down the slavers that had his wife, and he knew he couldn't, like, take on all the slavers, so he killed her. Like, he shot her with his rifle, like he sniped her, so that she wouldn't suffer under the slavery.
Now that said, like, realistically, I feel like Boone actually could have taken them all.
Yeah, well, okay, it's one of those things of, like, there's the mimetic idea of Boone.
Right.
And then there's Boone in application.
Because, like, I've seen how Boone handles business, and when he's like, there were too many of them, but, like, what, were there, like, 200 million of them?
Yeah! Like, Boone could just... Like, but Craig Boone could have seen, like, 50 Legion soldiers standing there around his wife, and he could have fired 5 shots and taken it down. Like
they could have all been like 3 miles away with just like, and like he would have been watching with binocs like 3 miles. Like that's
Welcome
not a
back.
record
Gonna get
yet.
No, like
Sure.
Boone.
Have a look.
Boone would have found out that they were in Phoenix, Arizona, and he would have shot them from Vegas.
Yeah. Just sitting there atop the Lucky 38, just finagling with his optic. They're like, Boone, what are you doing? He's like, making some adjustments. It's gonna be a longer shot than I'm used to. Like, what? He's like, I feel like it's pretty obvious. I'm going to take a shot at a target that is a long ways away. What are you not understanding about this?
He doesn't have enough caps, so I have to buy something from him. Should buy some stem packs. I need to check my service rifle. If I can... can you see what mods it has on it? Okay, forged receiver and upgraded springs. Because this merchant sells he's currently selling the forged receiver for the service rifle, and I didn't want to buy it if I already had it. Which is, okay, I understand it's a gameplay thing and all that, but it's really funny to me that one of the mods that you can buy for the service rifle is a forged receiver. The service rifle's receiver is already forged. Dude, I just randomly on IG I got this like recommended post, and it was this guy that was saying that apparently there's been some leaks about Fallout Season 2, which the end of Season 1 basically looks at you, the viewer, and says, "Hey, we're probably going to New Vegas in Season 2, just so you know."
Ooh, we're going to take a trip to Vegas.
And that's whatever. I'm not gonna sit here and poo-poo the show and like, oh, they're gonna ruin Vegas. Like, it's a show. It's not gonna ruin this game for me.
It can't unplay Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, it's not like me watching the show is going to delete the file from my hard drive. But
I mean, it might.
yeah, it's like when you watch the show, it's like, hey, link your GOG or Steam account for a bonus in Fallout New Vegas, and then like you do it, and it just bricks your hard drive.
Completely. It always comes back to Bethesda finding new and innovative ways to brick your
yeah. Okay, but it was...
You do that, and it's just like, alright, great, now put your head next to your computer. And when you hear that low-pitched whir, just really focus on it. And you do, and you're like, can't remember anything. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. We wiped your memory.
It's that... one of my favorite videos on the internet right now is that when I snap my fingers, you will forget you were ever gay. And he snaps his fingers, and he's like, I was never gay. He goes, exactly.
And he's like, no, wait, you
he's like, you can't do that. I was never gay, if you say so.
Those are hilarious. Because that guy will just drop the most, like, inane bullcrap, and it will put the other dude on the warpath, and it's beautiful.
But yeah, the post I saw on IG was this guy dressed in like full NCR Trooper cosplay, and he had one of the Harrington and Richardson like M16A2s or A1s or whatever with the wood stocks, like the service rifle in New Vegas, and I looked at that and I was like, golly, I wish I had money right now. Sam, that's the intrusive thoughts for me.
What's that?
Like buying the Fallout New Vegas service rifle in real life.
Yeah, that's fair. That's valid.
I would actually, I've already got 2 guns from this game. I've got a single action army, and I've got an M1. But this game has always made me want a single action army and 357, even though that's just wrong.
Urged Sister Delith.
Oh, speaking of,
hello.
Visit the reloading bench here. Oh, all I can do is break down a bunch of... I can just break down ammo. I can't... Ah, there we go. Now I can reload some. What was that, Oh, yeah, I need 75. Oh, Tyler, did I tell you that I had a conversation with a guy in this game? And I passed a skill check. And the guy was like, you seem to know your way around a gun, son. Or I'm a girl, but he's like, he gave me a crafting recipe, like a reloading data to make his custom 44 Magnum semi-wad cutters. And I saw that, and I was like, did Josh Sawyer learn about Elmer Keith when he was researching gun stuff for this game? Like,
I started looking up ranges around here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have found the best set of range rules that I can find.
Okay.
So you know, because we've had issues with this. Rule number 6, all uncased, unholstered firearms must be unloaded.
There you go. One word can change the whole thing about it.
Like, if you don't want me to have my rifle loaded, that, sure, I guess, fine.
But if you're going to tell me I have to unload my carry gun on the shooting range, I am out. Yeah. I'm gone.
Yeah. Another one that's good. Where'd it go? When shooting rapid-fire strings, all shots must be kept within a 16-inch diameter circle.
Hey,
centered in the target.
There you go. That is somebody like, look, we've got to make a rule about this, but we're not going to be stupid and be like, no more than X amount of shots per Y time.
And
that's eminently reasonable, I think.
Yeah.
To clear things up, it's if shots cannot be kept inside the 16-inch circle, either slow down or move closer, or both. Like, there's no, we'll kick you out if it's outside a 16-inch circle.
This sounds like a range run by people that shoot, not by people that collect guns and are just gun adjacent.
Now, there is no smoking, which is unfortunate. But I also don't feel like burning the range down, so fair enough.
Yeah. Dude, so in Far Cry 2, at the very beginning of the game, like, you arrive at the airport in this, like, unnamed African country, and you're being driven to town in, like, a taxi. And there is a fire just off the side of the road, and the guy says, like, he says something like, yeah, it's the dry season here, so things go up in flames super hard, and, like, fire will spread faster than you can realize. And that's the game explaining to you, like, diegetically that, like, fire spreads. Like, as a mechanic. So, like, if you throw a Molotov... Well, I mean, of course, you've played, like, you've played Far Cry 4 and 5, so you know, like, fire does that in the Far Cry games. But, like, that was, like, a big deal for them in Far Cry 2 to be like, look, we made it to where, like, if something catches on fire, the fire spreads.
Yeah. They did a lot with that in 3.
Yeah. Well, and see, like... I came across a mission that I thought... Okay, the beginning of the mission, they give you access to, like, a flamethrower. And they tell you to go to this place. They don't tell you take the flamethrower, but they tell you that there is a flamethrower. Or sorry, they tell you there are guns that you can take, and one of them is a flamethrower. And when you go to this place, there's, like, a field of what looks like weed. And I thought for a second, did somebody play this game back in the day and, like, burn that field down and go, bro, you know what this needs? Like, what if it was your mission objective to burn the weed field and it had some, like, really cool music like Skrillex?
I always think of Skrillex when I think of good music.
I always think of Skrillex when I think of music.
Skrillex is one of the musicians of all time.
Yeah, Skrillex has one of
the... I think of Skrillex when I think of sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, accurate. Dude, people hated dubstep so much. And, like, I liked some dubstep songs, but I never quite understood the just full-bore hatred some people have for it. Because, like, there would be people that say, like, a laptop is not an instrument. It's like, hey, buddy, you do realize that probably a lot of music you listen to is not actually... Like, for one, you're listening to a recording.
Yeah.
You're listening to a recording that is not guaranteed to actually be of a live instrument. Like there are drum tracks and things like that people... Help me, King!
And an argument can be made that just as much now of the work that goes into music is done on a computer, sort of like done with engineering.
Well, that's like... So, like, Sam, you're...
Doesn't make it an instrument, right? Granted.
Yeah. Like, Sam, you're a big fan of the old kill switch engage. You realize the way that they... Like, they did not sit down and record like, I forget their lead guitarist's name, but, like, he did not sit down and, like, record his whole, like, if the song was 3 minutes long, he didn't record a 3-minute stretch of the song. And, like, let's say that, like, the chorus has, like, a guitar riff that's only in the chorus, and then the bridge is a different riff. He would just record the chorus and then just, like, copy-paste the audio for the second chorus. Like, it wasn't...
And the thing is, for him especially, he was literally also doing... Because Adam... I believe it's Adam D. is their lead guitar.
Yes, because his name's, like, Derkowitz or something.
Yeah. But he's also a producer, so he was
Yes.
literally doing the copy-pasting.
Yes, exactly.
Of, like, putting the songs together. So, yeah, but, oh, yeah, I found that. And, like, of course, like, Billy Corgan has regularly talked about how, like, when you listen to when you listen to studio recordings of the Smashing Pumpkins, there's like 5 different guitar tracks going on because he's just like, I just want to see how complex I can make the songs sometimes.
Speaking of Billy Corgan, did you see about did you see the news about Billy Corgan?
No.
All right, hang on, let me...
Because, like, I saw that he was going to be on that tour, like, Ozzy's farewell tour, but...
Let me pull this up on my phone and read it to you. All right, I'm gonna just... Yeah, there's different sources I could use for this, but I'm going to go with Billboard because it's a music source and we're talking about a musician, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Howie Mandel apologizes for blindsiding Billy Corgan and Bill Burr with family reunion bit on podcast, saying, "I feel horrible." It was a mistake to use this page because it's like trying to paywall me. Yeah, so... Billy Corgan thinks Bill Burr is his half-brother, and Bill Burr was on, like, Howie Mandel's podcast, and it was, like, he just brought out Billy Corgan and had them talk and stuff, and they were talking about this estranged deadbeat father kind of thing, and... like, it's kind of sounds like they could have the same dad. But it's funny because when you see Billy Corgan sitting next to Bill Burr, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, I'm literally, like, in my mind doing that right now, and I'm like...
Well, and it's also the fact that they're both named Bill.
High roller sweet.
They're both bald. Like, I don't know, man.
They do have, like, a tangential resemblance. It's not
yeah.
like they're dead ringers, but...
Suddenly I feel...
Oh, I think I already...
It's weird how plausible that is. Like, something like that is not supposed to make sense.
Yeah, and part of it was, like, part of the discussion that I saw was saying something about how, like, both of them's dad claimed to be a musician, but wasn't very successful or something. And it was like, I forget which, I think it might be Bill Burr that said, you couldn't get away with that now. Like, you couldn't claim to be, like, oh, I'm a musician that plays clubs, but I'm just not very successful or whatever. Because, like, that would be on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like whatever you say the name of the band is, I could look it up. Like, there's no way. All right, let's talk to Howard Hughes for a second.
The foundation is laid. My Securitrons on the strip are upgraded, and those at the fort ready for action. Now it's just a matter of adjusting
Do what?
the attitudes of some lesser groups while we wait for Caesar's Legion to attack Hoover Dam.
Howie Mandel.
Okay, why was he apologizing? Like, what did like?
Apparently, it wasn't. It wasn't like okay, Bill Burr didn't know it was going to happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like Bill Burr was ambushed with this.
Yeah, okay. No,
And the thing is, I was expecting to see, like, clips from it where, like, Bill Burr's angry, like, chewing him out or something. But that's not really what I saw. It was more kind of like, he kind of seemed uncomfortable, but
like, rolled with it, trying to be a good guess, basically.
Yeah, hold on a second. So I just returned to house, and one of my options is, I've come here to kill you, Mr. House, and it says, attack Mr. House. I just like the concept of the courier walking in and talking to a giant television screen and saying, I'm here to kill you. And he just, like, breaks the screen. Also, the screen has a fingerprint on it. But the scale of the screen is so large that the finger that left this fingerprint are their giants.
The Nephilim.
The Nephilim, yeah.
Outside New Vegas, at what was once called Nellis Air Force Base,
Oh, I've already talked to the boomers, Mr. House.
known as the Boomers.
Okay.
They are, shall we say, aggressively reclusive. They have several howitzers they fire at anyone who dares approach the base.
If you could,
artillery of this sort has a range of several miles. If it's going to fire on Hoover Dam,
well,
I want it firing
hang on.
at my targets. If not,
hang on a second. I have to check something.
that the Boomers don't sign similar treaties to fire their guns in support of the NCR or Caesar's Legion.
Robert House was born June 25th, 2020.
He's a Gen.
He's a Gen Alpha.
I don't know why, but that pisses me.
Well, that's kind of like Grimbeard points out in his Deus Ex Invisible War video that Tracer Tong is in Deus Ex Invisible War, and he's in which is a prequel, and because of his age, it would mean he's a Zoomer.
Yeah. It's Tracer Tong.
Well done.
Just
the Boomers' firepower may prove an advantage when the battle for Hoover Dam comes around. Your next assignment won't take you far. It concerns the Omertas and their den of vice, Gomorrah. As the decisive encounter between the bull and the bear looms close, my concerns about the Omertas have grown. I've never expected loyalty, mind you.
Sort of god
a reliably underhanded tribe is just as constant to deal with as one that always runs true. But that's just it. Lately, the Omerta's cooperative silence has been deafening. Not a single complaint. They're up to something. The Omertas are fanatically loyal to each other. Still, among any group, one can find the occasional degenerate. Gomorrah's receptionist happens to be one. For years, she passed on whispers of what was taking place at the casino in exchange for payment. A few months ago, she clammed up. Odds are she's scared. But I've had no way
Dylan,
of
remember the problems I said I had with this Galco fabric holster?
Yeah.
Turns out it was a rear sight that was catching on it.
Hmm.
So I just took an unreasonably large knife and cut out a section where the rear sight sits.
Makes sense.
Let's try it real quick.
Okay, so I've been streaming for almost 3.5 hours, and I think this is a pretty good place to call the stream as far as like my work with Mr. House goes. And the next time that I come back to the game, we'll pick up with Mr. House's quest. But yeah, I think, overall pretty successful bit of streaming, especially with, Sam to keep me company and chit-chat and everything. But yeah, so I think as soon as I can alt-tab my mouse over to my other screen. Oh, it's so hard to do this. Yeah, but if you've been watching this, thanks for watching. If you're watching this like on the YouTube channel after the fact, thanks for checking it out. Try to join us sometime on a live stream. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, thanks for your time watching this, and I'll see you next time.